The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez Show.
We are the wild and crazy guys.
That's right. Sometimes they're funny.
There you go. You won't feel so bad.
Yes, I do actually.
Sometimes they're serious.
My daughter made an incredible squash vegetable soup.
But they're always real.
Do you use a regular toothbrush or do you have like an electronic toothbrush?
And we'll tell you the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez Show.
Hey, ¿qué pasa?
Hey,
What's going on?
Hey.
You know who I am. I'm Luis Guzman. I'm with Casper Martinez.
Yo,
Jackie Q, and we here, my boy, the one and only, the greatest, badass. What's up, fool?
What's up,
Felipe Esparza.
Yeah, baby.
Hey.
Yo, Felipe, you should know that Casper does not fucking applaud for nobody. So don't, I got your back, papi.
Take
Damn.
it personal.
Que come mierda.
Don't take it personal.
Así empezamos el show. That's some fucked up shit. So what's going on, Felipe? What you up to, brother?
Not much, just, promoting my 2 Netflix specials on Netflix, Spanish and English, Bad Decisions, Malas Decisiones.
Yeah, which is incredible. It's so funny.
You know, we all watched it.
Yeah.
You're talking to people who actually watch the show. I enjoy the dog and the Coke binges. Between the dog and the Coke binges, I was good.
So you have a little dog, huh?
What?
You have a little dog?
I have 2 dogs, and I have right here behind me, there's rabbits, but you can't see them right now.
Oh, yeah, you got your little rabbits. I always see them on social media. And last time when you came by the crib, I have Marty, but Marty's in the other room. He's hanging out with Christina.
Be honest. Be honest. You've gotten them high before, haven't you?
Well, they probably got secondhand smoke, but not like, here, smoke this.
Right. They don't have thumbs. They can't really grab it.
Eat a little crumb.
Yeah, bro.
Yo, bro, so I watched your Netflix thing. I think it was great. I love that whole story about mom and pop fighting and taking you to the zoo and stuff like that. And coño pa. So is that still going on? Do you guys still make visits to the zoo together and reminisce?
No, we don't even. The zoo's closed right now.
Oh,
when we were little boys, my little brother and I, and another friend, we got banned. Our school, our little Catholic school summer camp, got banned from the Alley Zoo for life because my friend, he let out the kangaroos, and they were running crazy. Like, people were walking, and the kangaroo was attacking people. And my other friend, he was selling peacock feathers around the zoo because he found a bunch of peacocks and he took the feathers out and he was selling them, man. And another friend of ours, he was caught shoplifting.
Okay, porque mira, I know que tú no eres un santo. What were you doing?
Yeah, what were you doing?
What were you doing?
The money for the feathers.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. Guilty by association.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn for life. I've never heard of anything like that before.
Damn, bro.
You should see when you get a bunch of peacocks together, it sounds like a club, like a party. They go, show, show, show.
Oh, shit. You're walking in, so there's some lights. Shout.
Exactly like that.
Casper, don't you got peacocks walking around there?
No, we have over here, sand crane birds or something. I don't know. My girl know what the hell they are, but they're just like big, long leg birds. And here in Florida, you can't fuck with them. Like, you go to jail for hurting them, which is cool. I don't mind them like walking around, but they come around like 3 or 4, and they're real arrogant when they cross the street. Because they take their time, they're like, fuck you, I know you can't do nothing to me.
You be like in your car and you be looking at them and they be like, que tú mira, carajo.
Yeah, they give you the
fuck. No me conoce. No me conoce.
They look right at you.
So Felipe, let me ask you something, brother. Do you remember your first fight and how did that go down?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I guess when we were in Mexico, like the older kids, they put on boxing gloves on the little kids and made us all fight. And I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Damn.
And I remember I got beat up because the guy was like 7.
You went from sucking tits to getting hit.
Damn.
It felt like a rough pillow fight.
Yeah. You were like, now I know what piñatas go through.
I was little, man.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
bro.
3 or 4 years old. So you started fighting early.
But I got beat up by a girl in 6th grade.
Oh, what was
Nice.
the
I like
circumstances?
that girl.
Wow.
That kind of
We
girl.
played kickball, and I noticed that it was going to be time to go back to class, and I wasn't going to get a turn to kick. So to kick the ball. So it was her turn, and then I ran before she could get to the ball, and I kicked the ball real hard. And she said, "I'm gonna beat your ass." And she was like twice the size of me, bigger hands. She had like 12 brothers.
Oh.
And she waited for me after school, and I told her to jump over the gate. And she was tall, and she grabbed by the shirt and she dragged me down and body slammed me. And then she got on top of me and went to town, bro. Pop, 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 pop. That was the first time I had a woman's crotch in my face too, though.
Oh, wow. So you got a double, well, you got a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, but I got her back later on, man. Later on in life.
How?
She was in a bad relationship with a crackhead, you know? So I was very nice to that crackhead. And they would get into domestic violence all the time. And I said,
my God.
Don't worry about it, man. You go back over there, you fight for your rights.
Felipe, I gotta ask you. Besides me,
Oh my God.
Besides me?
Full of shit.
Casper.
I'm sorry.
Casper, you
Was
ain't
the
there.
mic on?
You
Was
ain't
the mic
there
on?
yet.
I'm sorry.
Aguántate, okay? Aguántate. Felipe. Besides me, who is your idol?
Besides him.
Like, I don't know, like comedy or?
In anything you choose.
I will go with comedy because in life.
Okay, comedy.
I think like when I was a kid, I used to like Richard Pryor and George Carlin and Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah. That kind of lines up right for me. What you like about them?
They made me laugh because I was a little kid, you know, with a bunch of kids, and we didn't do shit all day, man, but watch VHS tapes all day. Somebody loaned us a tape, and remember, like when you had a regular VHS tape, if you fuck with the back and cut it, you could make that tape 6 hours long.
I didn't know that.
The old bootleg movie. If you like mess with the tape in the back, like a little strip, you could make it run slower. And
it was LP, EP.
LP
4 hours,
SP.
6 hours.
You didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, I had a 6-hour tape. And let me tell you, man, when you would borrow a movie from me, you wouldn't just borrow one movie, you'll borrow 3 movies.
Yeah. I will have
If
like
you want to watch Back to the Future,
Rambo.
you're going to watch 16 Candles and Risky Business too.
You had it all in one VHS.
So, were you to collect
My
the
friend had a
casserole?
VCR right next to this old school cable box called Select or on TV. And he used to record all the movies, bro, and we'd pass them around the neighborhood.
That was the beginning of bootlegging.
Yeah,
No,
man,
that was not bootlegging, Casper. That was a public service that they were providing.
Community sharing.
Okay.
Community sharing.
Mira este. Where you gonna send my boy and get him in trouble, bro? It was a public service to the community.
I apologize.
Educating people.
And I
Educating
saw-
people on film.
Sharing the art.
I saw a tape of young comedians, Rodney Dangerfield, and on the video was Robert Townsend and Seinfeld, Sam Kinison, and Andrew Dice Clay.
Okay, I don't know. I only know Rodney.
Wow, you don't know Sam Kinison? Sam Kinison used to scream all the time. He was in the movie.
That's why I never really watched them because
I love his whole bit about Jesus and his loser friends. You know, Sam Kinison was a fucking man.
And the dice man, hey, I tell you,
Hickory dickory dock, some bitch was sucking my cock. Yeah,
Little Miss Muffet.
Okay.
And then what's the name of Robert Townsend, you know?
Yeah. Robert Townsend was great. I love that movie that he did, Hollywood Shuffle.
Yeah.
That was an iconic movie. Yo, bro, so when are you and I going to do a movie together, man? Because the world needs us. I mean, Casper, if we need a PA, we'll call you. But you and I, Felipe.
I'll bring the coffee.
We could do the remake of Trading Places.
That would be dope.
I'll go over there and I'll drag you out of Folsom Prison to solve a mystery.
I've been to Folsom Prison. Have you ever been there?
Never, hell no.
Fuck.
How about if we do something like Trading Places where you guys switch, where Louis becomes Mexican, you become Boricua?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'd be like
that movie Big.
Yeah.
I'd be like, orale all day.
Orale.
I've been wearing my cutout, bro.
Yeah.
Louis B. Orale all day.
That's West Side.
Okay, wait.
That's not Puerto Rico in the house.
Felipe, give me your best version of a Puerto Rican talking.
Boricua.
Oh, shit.
Papá, tú no estás gordo, tú estás lleno de grasa.
That's not bad.
More Puerto Rican, more Cuban, huh?
Bendito, Boricua.
That sounded more like a Midwest, you know, but that's okay.
That's like a watered down American Boricua, kind of.
You know,
but it has the Boricua accent-ish.
Felipe, what's your go-to song?
My go-to song? Right now?
Anytime.
Right now, I like this song this song called El Envidioso, the jealous one, by Los Dos Carnales. It's like a norteño song.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Okay.
But I do like the Doors, man.
The Doors are great.
The soft parade has just begun.
Dale.
I listen to a lot of stuff, man. It depends on what mood I'm in, you know? Like sometimes I get a call from somebody, oh, bro, you got to check this out, you know? And I like to watch those old concerts, you know, like they have like, there's a band that played in Shea Stadium, I think, or New York Stadium, where the Yankees played.
Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium, yeah.
Who was that?
The All-Stars. Fauna All-Stars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Matsuchi.
So you watch them. Plus, there's a good one called Soul Power, a concert that was live from Zaire. That was the night that there was supposed to be a fight over there between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali.
That's right.
And they were supposed to have a concert and the fight. The fight was canceled and postponed, but all these artists were already there, like James Brown, Celia Cruz, Hector Lavoe, you know, all these dudes, and they still had the concert in Zaire.
Okay, they were there already.
That's dope.
Oye, papi, una pregunta, Felipe. What was it like for you the first time you went up on stage to do your thing?
Man, I didn't have a ride.
Sounds about the right beginnings.
Man, I didn't know nothing about stand-up comedy. I thought you had to dress a certain way. So I was watching TV and I saw how these comedians, these white comics, the 80s comic, how they dress with those coats, bro, with the little patches right here.
The little Cerrucci jacket.
So I found a coat, and my coat was checkerboard, bro, like real ugly.
And he had a smoking jacket.
I couldn't find no tie. So I found this thing, and then I didn't know what it was, but somebody told me it was a bolo, like a bolo.
Uh-huh.
And then my jeans, Bro, I look like Foxy Bear from the Muppets.
Waka waka waka.
Did you do Spanish or English?
English. It was all English. When I was there, I saw a bunch of good comics. I saw the Mooney twins. I think they were Paul Mooney's sons.
Oh,
They
wow.
performed. Then I saw a bunch of weirdos. And then it was like a punk band would perform. And then a comedian will perform while the other punk band was setting up. So punk band setting up, comedian, they're setting up behind me, comedian. I don't know. I had no jokes, bro. I remember there was a black dude that performed before me, and he was dressed all in black, with white sleeves and white hat. And I said, my first joke was, wow, the last guy didn't know this, but he was the first black Amish guy I ever seen in my life. You go to his house, there's no electricity, there's no power, there's no money, there's no car, there's nothing. Then everybody laughed. And that was it, bro. And then I said a couple of jokes about I was in a play in the hood called Romeo and Juliet.
Who you play?
I play Romeo as a crackhead trying to get back into the house.
Diablo.
So I started off like looking for crack on the floor and tasting it. Then I was
Oh my God.
I'll be like,
Oh my God.
He got
I'll
into
be like
character.
this. Then I'll be like this.
Bro, we are lucky that we did not grow up in this neighborhood.
Yeah, really. Your neighborhood sounds like it was hard.
If me and you, Felipe, would have grown up together, the conversation would have been, yeah, man, he was such a cool fucking dude, man. I always try to help him, man, Or you would be saying the same shit about me. So, damn, man. Yeah, Louis, man.
We'll probably be sitting in a jail cell, and I'll be looking and going, yeah, I was thinking about telling you not to do that, but yeah.
But we were having so much fun and shit.
I know. We were tripping our balls off.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't know.
What unicorn is this?
Yeah. So, brother, I gotta ask you, brother, what had been your biggest life lesson?
Damn, he got deep.
I think right now, when I was 20 or 21 years old, I forget, I was in this Ford 5.0 Mustang convertible, a white one. And I don't know, man, but everybody was driving this car all week in the neighborhood. It was like, hey, man, I need to go to a store. Can I have the keys? Boom, put gas in it. I mean, everybody was driving this Mustang. And it never occurred to me that this car could be stolen, because nobody was getting pulled over in it. So I got pulled over. I was driving in South Central with like a bunch of other people, but I was I was a passenger. And these kids, I thought they were like my age, okay? Because I was like 20. When we all went to jail and they were processing us, one of them was 13. The other one was 14.
Oh,
The driver was 16. This other guy was 21. And I was in the back seat.
There's always a cabrón who's 20, 21.
Oh,
So
those fools immediately went to juvenile hall. The cop looked at me and said, listen, man, what are you doing? You're hanging around with these kids? He goes, what are you doing? You're not even driving the car. He goes, don't you have other things you want to be doing? And I said, yeah, I do. But I remember, like, I got really scared because I saw a description of a crime and the description of the person who did it. And I'm thinking, fuck, I wasn't there when this happened. But I think I heard this story firsthand by somebody. And it was like, because I remember some guy was telling me the horrible story that happened to him and how he got away with his life. And then I was looking at this other thing. They're looking for a guy that ran off and left two guys behind. I don't know what happened to them. But that right there, I said, fuck this, man. I'm in the wrong place. This is two signs here. But of course, I didn't learn my lesson until later on when I finally got into big trouble and I went to rehab.
Okay. And how long have you been clean and sober?
Since 2011, no, 2009. But my first time was, I was sober and clean for like 8-9 years. Then I fell off for like 3 years. Then I came back again. Yeah, so
Okay.
now
Well, I'm proud of you, brother, because you know the struggle is real, my friend.
It's
And I'm
hard.
really, and I can't tell you how, you know, I consider you a brother, a good friend. I'm so fucking proud seeing you.
Thank you.
You know, I promote you all the time, unlike Casper. But you know, I promote you as much as I can, and you know, listen, I had a very proud moment. Casper, you don't know this, but I hosted
You told me.
a show.
Oh yeah, that show was legendary, man.
Wait, I want to hear it. I want to
Jackie
hear it.
doesn't know the story,
Yeah, I
though.
don't know
Oh,
the
man.
story.
First of all, I didn't know that Louis could do stand up. You know, I know he could do sketch because I seen him on that show, The
House of Buggin'. Yeah.
which was hilarious. And my first sketch was the one where, me and my little brothers, we fucking died, man. When John Leguizamo was telling his girlfriend, like, what is the guy doing over there with that chick? She could do much better. What is he doing with her? He was talking about how you look, that you're not that attractive. But then when the sketch ended with you telling your girlfriend, did you see that guy? He's gross.
I remember that we had a great time doing that show, brother.
And I remember a comedian that I work with, JJ Ramirez.
Oh, I know, JJ.
We all
He
know.
told me that they come. I don't know how he talked, but they come running on the show, House of Boogie, and everybody's running with computer, laptops. I can't use the computer. I'm the only one bringing in notes. He said that everybody was typing in their jokes, and he was passing little post-its with all the jokes for the show like this.
Yeah. No, I love JJ. I learned a lot from him, man. You know, he's one of our OGs kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, so we bring up Louis and everybody's, I guess, excited. First of all, they start looking around. They can't believe it. Of course, the phones go on. Listen, bitch, you should have been here. Everybody posting shit up. And then I didn't know, like, I was totally surprised, man, that Louis had little chanclitas signed.
Oh, yeah, chancletas.
Yeah, bro. He was telling a joke, and then he'll throw a chancla at somebody.
I love that. Oh my God.
Somebody went home with "Made in China" on their forehead.
Yeah, no shit.
I love it.
Yeah, a couple of people have bought condos trading in those chancletas.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying? For real. But brother,
We did the
listen.
Microsoft.
Huh?
We did the Microsoft Theater also. You and
That's
I,
right. Yeah.
and Russell.
So, you know, oh yeah, man. You know what? I just gotta say, brother, I love watching you because you have a certain energy and bounce about you. Unlike Casper, he's pretty stiff. But I love watching you, and you're just badass, brother. Like I said, man, you know, and you do a lot. You do a podcast. What was that crazy ass show that I did last year?
As a matter of fact, that show is gonna come out in December. The Eric Andre show.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You remember that, Felipe? That motherfucker was trying to make me laugh and all that. Yeah, I said,
He
Papa,
got naked, right?
yeah, man. He got intimidated.
I thought he was gonna get naked or something.
You know what? He would have gotten naked and shit. I said, fuck it, that's you. You know?
Maybe that would have made you laugh.
Yeah.
Casper, what you just did not make me laugh, okay? Anyway, but yeah, so we're gonna see that in December. Okay, what else you got coming up, puppy?
I'm in a movie right now called Guest House with Pauly Shore. I play Father Jeff. I marry somebody. That's out right now. You go buy it on Amazon or rent it, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two specials on Netflix, Malas Decisiones and Bad Decisions. And I've been trying to pitch a sitcom for the last 5 years. Like 1 year, we got a deal. Then they said no to the pilot. Then the second year, they said no to everything. Then the third time, they said, let's see that pilot. Then they said no. But this time, I'm pitching a pilot with some actor from Mexico, Omar Chaparro.
Oh, I know Omar. He's great.
Real nice. He said he worked with you in a movie. And he wanted you to be on his show here in LA when they come back and tape.
Okay, that's easy. Just tell him that.
He took over for the Platanito show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm glad because that fucking Platanito guy had me like, bro. The first time I went on that fucking show,
right?
I'm looking at Veronica and I'm saying, are you fucking kidding me? Is this shit real? Because I said, mira, give me a second. I got to go to the car. Bro, I was going to go get my gun, man. I felt like, holy shit.
It was, he gets away with so many funny ass jokes that are really nasty.
No kidding.
I love that.
They're really, really nasty. Like hilarious, like some stuff that you might question on another network, they might get you off the air. But he's funny. But he just throws you off because he has that big old afro and
man.
He's a clown, man, a full-on clown.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this, man?
It's like the Mexican homie the clown.
That's
the Mexican homie the clown. That's a perfect description.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a cultural thing.
Pinche güey, don't play that.
Payasos in Mexico are huge.
Yeah, like the India Maria.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, mira, papi, I want to thank you because I know you got to go. Okay?
Yeah.
Because we're on a time limit here. But, man, much respect to you. Keep doing what you do. When you got more time, we'd love to bring you back because we got so much to talk about. And Dios me lo bendiga. Keep doing your thing. You're making us proud. Casper, you want to say something nice?
Yeah, if anybody want to follow him on Facebook, Felipe Esparza fan page, on Instagram, Felipe Esparza comedian. Check out his stuff. Support Latinos in comedy. Keep doing your thing, brother. I really enjoy the comedy special and I want to see more.
Jackie, what would you like to say, honey?
I absolutely loved your comedy special, both in English and in Spanish. You're welcome. And I can't wait to see more from you.
Yeah, I love to go back to New York.
My love to the family, brother.
Thank you, bro.
And really quick, I just would like to say,
shut the fuck up. You gotta go. You gotta go later.
You're like those that inspired you, and now you're inspiring others. And if you ever need an MC or someone to open, bro, take me on the road. I got 5 tips for you, bro.
That's all you, bro. Let me tell you something. That's all you need is a good 5 minutes, bro.
Bro, you're on the other side of Hollywood, man. Make a call. Call Hollywood.
Right.
Tell them I'm here.
Oh,
bro.
God.
All right.
Pay no mind to the man behind the curtain.
Thank you, Papi.
We love you, brother. Thank you.
Right,
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's awesome. He's so
I love
funny,
Felipe.
man. The special's hilarious. It's shocking and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I actually got to meet him when he came out to Orlando with another buddy, Adam Murray, who was opening up for him, and they came over to my apartment to hang out. Felipe is mad cool, man. Cool. Bueno, buen provecho ahí, Luis. And let me say hi to a couple of people because we do have a lot of friends on Facebook. So shout out to Maria Nieto, Ralph Enriquez, Di Molina, all our friends who are on here. Xavier Rivas, what's up, brother? Chilling. And I this show is pretty cool. I mean, I love what we just had with Felipe. We have another guest today. I want to share this story with you guys because I had the pleasure of doing a story on these two brothers. We have one of them tonight here with us. Back when I was doing Urban Latino TV, publicists pitched me these Latino brothers who were developing video games. And I was like, hey, man, hell yeah, I want to meet these guys, because how many of us know any Latinos developing any kind of video games, you know. So I got to meet these guys back then, and 10, 15 years later, because it's been a minute, Streamline Studio is the company. Tonight we have Alexander Fernandez, the CEO of Streamline Studios. Please bring him on, Gustavo. I'd like to see my brother from another mother. What's going on? I don't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I was going to say what up because I muted myself. Here we go.
I can hear you, Poppy. You good.
I was just throwing shit up there, you know what I mean? I figured it would just get through, being muted and all that. Casper, been forever, dude.
I know, right?
How
That's
are you,
crazy.
man? Oh my God, man. I mean, I had hair when I was talking to you. Now I'm bald.
I know, Louis. I want to share some of the stories that when I met them, that they were telling me their story, and of course, Alexander's going to chime in. But you had told me that when you first got into the video game stuff, you had done stuff like take apart Commodore 64s, to kind of learn the what make these things work. And you used to go to these conventions with your brother, and kind of.
Absolutely. I mean, basically what it was is that we were homebrew. My mom basically, she saved for 9 months to buy us a computer in 1993. So basically it's 93. And I mean, you say there's almost no Latinos in video games. Like, let me tell you how many were in computers back in 93. So we were over there. Yeah, claro, cero. And so we were sitting there and my mom comes home with this computer and she's like, if you break it, you better fix it or I'll break you. And I'm like, oh shit. So, better get this going, and yeah. Nicaragua, man. That's what she does. She's straight up about things. So she's like, this is how it's going to be. So we basically learned how to take apart computers and put them back together. And through that process, that inspired us to learn how the software works. And then once you learn how the software works, you start playing games. And of course, games is a gateway drug to greater technology learning. And we just basically figured out how to hack apart software and then basically build our own games from it. So pure hobbyist, real nerdy stuff. And, while we're doing this, we're watching like the indie revolution. So Senor Guzman, my God, man, watching your films, man, watching you being like, you got to be kidding me. So, we're taking up our computers and, shit, you got to know when Boogie Nights came out, we were watching that shit over and over.
Baby.
I was 16 years old, man. And I'm like, holy shit, look at this. So I'll tell you, man, that was, those two things come together and basically said, I think video games is a career for us. We just got to try to figure out how to get into this industry. And that was it. Taking apart computers and learning how to basically change programming. That's how we got in.
Now, tell us a little about some of the projects you guys worked on, because if my memory serves me right, you guys did something with James Bond 007 and some other games.
Correct. So in 2002, we got lucky that we ended up working on Nightfire, which was the James Bond game that EA was working on along with Gearbox Software. They called us up one day and said, hey, you guys want to work on Bond? And we're like, yeah, of course we want to work on James Bond. And so what ended up happening is we made all the cinematics. So if you guys know, when you look at games, they have these rendered sequences that look like little Pixar movies, right? And we would basically make those rendered cinematics. And at the time when they called us up, there was no Pierce Brosnan, right? He wasn't going to be in this game. So there was like some version of Pierce Brosnan meets Sean Connery meets some other dude. And you're like, wow, this is looking kind of strange. So while we're making this, they end up finally getting Pierce Brosnan to commit. And then that basically ends up having to replace all the characters that we had made. Now, because this is 2002, the technology behind this is super slow. So you got to imagine 6 months worth of work basically has to be scrubbed out again and put together. And it was 4 months, man. So our asses like on it. So, but it teaches you, man. It's production, pure development, pure production. But that's how we started off. And then from there, Gears of War, Unreal Tournament, Street Fighter 5. We've worked on 400 games since we started in this.
You guys worked on the Avatar games, right?
Yeah, we worked. So on Avatar, what we did on that is we got a phone call one day, as in Hollywood, and I get this call saying, come down to the Avalon Hotel. So I'm thinking this is going to turn into some True Hollywood story. I'm like, why am I going, calls me to the Avalon Hotel. What is this about? So we go down and they're like, hey, we got a deal going on with 20th Century Fox to put Coke Zero, right? You remember when Avatar came out? There was that entire commercial tie-in. And they're like, we need people who understand video games. We need people who understand basically modern technology to help us basically get this marketing thing going. And we started on that. And that was a crazy 4-month ride that just taught me a lot about basically what it takes to actually work in Hollywood. what I don't want to do in Hollywood, and then basically, more importantly, basically certain areas you don't need to be in, and then at the same time, basically just delivering, marketing materials and commercial AR, VR type of integration. So basically, virtual reality, augmented reality, and then just working with major brands. So it was a really interesting situation to be in.
Very cool.
Louis looks.
I just
no. I'm looking at Casper because I'm letting him drive this. Pero I want to ask you a question, brother.
Yeah, man.
I want to ask you a question. So, what is it? Well, so you travel all over the world, right?
Yeah. Well, up until COVID, my ass was on a plane every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. I lived in Amsterdam for 11 years. I lived in Southeast Asia in a place, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, for 5 years, and I just barely came back. And generally, I'm everywhere, flying around and doing things. But then COVID grounded my ass, so here I am.
Yeah, so that's my question is like, how have you been dealing with this whole COVID situation?
That's actually a real good question. I mean, I'm lucky that I gotta come back. I had just moved back to Las Vegas when COVID hit, and my mom's here. So basically, I've been away for almost 20 years. So coming home and having my mom here and having my kids here, my wife's here, it turned it into a really nice telenovela. It was really like, oh, look, yeah, it's fantastic. At the same time, it's been hard from one thing that I still wake up at 4:30 in the morning thinking I got to catch a plane. That's probably the thing. Like I've been so used to.
You're so programmed.
Yeah, it's programmed. Dude, I tell you, sometimes I just put on those noise canceling headphones and just close my eyes, and I'm like, oh, I almost hear the engine. But I'm just like, it's crazy because you get too used to it. And it's that rush and the thrill,
You're in the States right now, correct?
I'm in Vegas, man. I'm out here in Vegas. It finally got cool out.
Casper, are you listening? Are you listening?
Tuned out for a second.
I am so sorry.
I was going to bring something up. I was going to confirm because you know who also is in Vegas there.
It's your guy out here.
My God.
I'm on Trop and Hualapai. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm right up here in Summerlin, dude. I'm like, we're in the same neighborhood. I'm right over here by the Red Rock, right by
look at that. See, we're neighbors. We got to hang out now.
Well, we'll go sit down. Let's go do it. Well, actually,
Don't feel obligated.
You know what I love? I love that you hustled away to get onto an opening act. That was entrepreneurship, right? You're like, I need to get that job. I love that. You got to.
Yeah, it's all fun. Well, thank you for that. But, you obviously being the most, learned person on the line here, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your perspective in terms of everything happening with the society right now, man.
Okay, thank you, Gustavo.
Yeah, Gustavo. All right.
Thank you, Gustavo. Oh my God.
I like Gustavo to show us a couple of the clips because you have a new video game out there called Bacon Switch, right?
It launches today. Actually, funny enough, it's at midnight tonight. The game goes live on Nintendo Switch, so you can buy the game finally. But here
Bacon Switch. The bugs are running amok.
Press play, Gustavo.
Hi.
Press play. Press play.
Poor guy.
Okay. Anyway, so
the
listen.
technical director's not very technical. It turns out.
I know.
It's going to launch. It's going to launch tonight, people.
Yeah, it launches tonight at midnight, basically worldwide. Funny thing, you can also get it in Spanish too. I mean, we localize in 8 languages. So English, German, Spanish, Korean, Chinese, and Japanese.
So let me ask you, how did you guys come upon this concept?
The hashtag is Get Baked. I don't know, man. I mean,
smoked out,
man. I mean, I lived in Amsterdam for 11 years, man. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, by the way,
anywhere to get baked, it's definitely Amsterdam.
Jasmine, our friend Jasmine went and stood out there. Remember Jasmine Rodriguez? She stood out there with Alexander and Hector.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Awesome. She's
nice.
This looks cool. cool. So what's the concept behind the game?
So the entire concept is basically this. It's what you call a couch co-op. So you basically play with your friends and basically beat the crap out of the does that are there by combining them together, and then you sacrifice them to the gods, which are the ovens over there. So the entire concept here is that you have to work together as a team to traverse the map, solve puzzles that are happening, while at the same time combining the doughs together and either dipping them into different sauces or effectively avoiding these moldy spore looking things that basically attack them as well. And then by scoring points, you win. You earn stars by playing together. And really, this has been a theme in the games that we make as a studio, which is about teamwork. And it's really about coming together and playing together, because we're not antisocial people. We like to talk to people. So we think our games should bring people together and have a good time. And during this time right now of COVID, we know there's a lot of kids at home and a lot of families at home that need something to do. And we don't think you should just be blowing shit up. We think you should actually be doing something that actually teaches and helps people.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Thank you, Papa. Thank you.
Something
Casper, did you hear that, Casper?
What? I don't blow things. The only thing I blow up is a toilet. Why are you acting like I'm out there? Right? He's like, Casper. I'm like the most non-violent individual here. And he's like, Casper, be mindful.
But you are on TMZ in the middle of a street fight, right? And
oh my God. No, I wanted to ask, what was the inspiration for some of these characters? Because I'm going to keep it real. One of them looks like a sweaty ball. The other one's a dragon, you know.
They look like candy to me, like desserts.
Yeah, they're like
I want to eat them.
Yeah, they're basically, well, that's the thing. They're actually made of dough. It's puro pan, you know.
She doesn't know anything about cooking, Papi. She thought they were rocks and pebbles.
Do you like bread? It's basically it's basically bread. You know what I mean? The inspiration comes from the fact that, you know, when the game was first being designed, one of the engineers and designers put what looks like a baguette. It looked like this piece of bread, like a loaf, and that just started to spur the design inspiration. We're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if those breads were alive? And what if those, when they combine them,
you see what happened?
It just goes.
That's definitely so.
Yeah, Papa, let me ask you. So, microdosing mushrooms and then the dough, right?
Well, I would say one thing on this, in the end of the day, life's good. So,
That's it, Papi. That's it.
I mean, I can't.
Maria Nieto has a question that I also wondered, which is baklava? Is that baklava supposed to be baklava?
Yeah, so we do those play on the names, right? There's a lot of these kind of, the hell do you call those things? Puns. That's what they are. So there's a lot of puns in it. So baklava, masaria, we do these different things here that basically help people relate to what it is, but at the same time, it's cute, right? So we want to basically make sure that, everyone in the world eats some form of baked good, right? Every country has some type of dough. Mm-hmm. Everyone has it.
Oh, yeah.
You want to appeal to the local market. You want to bring their heroes and you want to bring their food in because, eating is what we do. So I want to eat and I want to play. I mean, that's the two things you want to do in life. And I want to be with my family or the people I love.
And smoke out.
You want to know something, bro? I like getting dressed for my guests.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
New York, I like that.
He got his own image on his shirt. Self-promotion.
Shirt. Well, you got to promote yourself these days, man. I mean, we're all content creators now. I mean, that's what it is, man.
It's true.
Yeah, well, just so you know, Casper is promoting the barbershop. He got a new haircut. Bacon Switch,
man. Bacon Switch. It's Switch and on PC on Steam. So, the one thing I would say on this, because you guys have a platform for basically bringing in all the Latinos from all over the place. Mm-hmm. We would love to get more Latinos in technology, more Latinos in video games, because honestly, I'll tell you something. It's one of those shift overs where getting into this industry, it just changes and opens the doors for everybody. And that's really one of the main things I would like to push here, is that it is an open industry for anyone. And especially because Latinos buy so many video games, we need to be making video games. We need to be developing technology and getting out there. So this is
how can we do that? How can we do that?
By first letting people know that it's possible. Because this is the thing. Like I never met anyone like me. I'll tell you that right now. I'm like, I swim in a sea of everything that's not me. And then at the same time, you know, I sat down and basically, you know, when we met Casper back in, it was 2005 when we met. Like, I was like, oh my God, there's a Latino, it's a television show that's not on Univision. I was like,
I know.
I was blown away. I'm like, wait, what? You know, I'd never seen it. Like when I saw you on Boogie Nights, man, I was like, what? And like, no, I'll be honest with you, because you don't know unless you see it. And when you see it, then you're like, hey, I can do that too. So this is something that really comes back down to promoting the fact that getting into science, technology, engineering, art, and math, so STEAM, but, you know, putting it together, that creates a total difference in terms of the lifestyle you can have and basically the upwards mobility that our people need to have. Because honestly, with COVID, I mean, honestly, let's be honest about this. 40 million people unemployed. How many of those do you think are Latino? How many? And this is the thing. So it's got to go into another place now. We need to find that other upwards ladder besides basically doing the things that, you know, other people don't want to do. So, I mean, this is just another thing that I look at. And so it's, you know, shows like this.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you, because I've been advocating for, you know, more Latino productions, films, TV shows, directors, you know, producers, writers, and stuff like that. Because, you know, we go to watch movies in masses.
Yes.
You know, we buy video games in masses. You know, so in that sense, I agree with you 1,000%. You know, I myself, you know, and you know, Jackie. I don't know, Jackie done some incredible writing. She done some incredible short films.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't know what Casper does, but yeah, you know, we're like really trying to promote.
Yo, why you always shitting on me, bro? Why you always shitting on me, bro?
He's a connector.
Casper's gonna cry indeed.
Well, but you know, the thing is about this, there's an interesting thing. I was there's this thing called was it moveon.org? And basically these guys, they do all types of great stuff. And one day I was sitting in one of these, they were doing a fundraiser, and you know, you guys know Van Jones, the guy that's
yes,
right? So we go to the side, we start talking about what's going on, and basically how more people of color, Latinos, blacks should not just be the talent, but really should be the publisher, the owner of intellectual property, should be the people creating this, because that's the difference. It's not just about being the talent. It's about owning the copyright, owning the publisher, owning distribution.
Yeah.
Ownership. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got that. And, you know, you got to imagine, it's like we're talking about this and I'm like, oh shit, that's actually making sense. And I start thinking about it, because in my industry, it's only IP. The value of these businesses come back down to things like the Street Fighter characters, the Final Fantasy characters, right? We know the Fortnite. We know that. You don't know that there's like 3,000 people working in these companies. But that's honestly where the value is. It's that intellectual property. So more of us coming in, trying to take our shot at making IPs, making games, making entertainment, and really connecting it together, because it is about the writing, it is about the acting, it is about the platform. All of this coming in and owning that, that's what makes the difference.
Absolutely.
On that. So
absolutely. And I think too, having more people like you mentioned that you didn't have anyone like you to look towards, you know, when you entered the industry. So having people like you for the younger generation to look towards and you know, find mentors in you, that's so important.
Yeah. Jackie, you're not that old. Don't talk like you're old.
Hey, Gustavo, put up that question that Ralph was asking.
Yeah, do you use Unreal Engine for? Yes, we use Unreal for 98% of the games released is using Unreal. So Unreal is the engine that powers Fortnite. So all these, you know, Fortnite, PUBG, I mean, that's Unreal right there. So, you know, to the point of what you're saying about role models, I absolutely believe in role models. I think mentorship is key. We have to basically sit down and reach back and help people understand, like, really, here are the pitfalls. And, you know, I am lucky on one thing. You know, I learned to be stubborn because I got a mom that came from Nicaragua, immigrated here, you know, hard ass, taught me what it is to work and, you know, volar verga, because that's what it is. And that's how I stay, because you face this shit in this industry where it's relentless and you can't give up. So I don't know. It's like, I have that because of her. I wish I have to give back. And that's what I try to do all the time. I mean, I make these, I have these videos, vlogs that I do about how do you get into video games. I have this entire channel dedicated to how you do things, because I want kids to learn.
Very cool.
How it's like, it's free knowledge, man. It's like shit, you know. I'm not a genius.
What's it?
Yeah, what's the channel?
So it's on YouTube. If you look up Starvup, STARVEUP.
Yeah, I have it right here.
Channel right there. So, you know, you guys go there, take a look at it. And, you know, honestly, that's all about entrepreneurship, video games, and how to get into it. And also, I look and interview people that are basically interesting people that have done something that they want to share. Because in the end, if you never hear about it, if no one has ever told you can do it, you're just going to think, oh, I just buy and I'm going to go, you know, slave my ass somewhere else, never truly realizing that I can own the business. I can be the one that does it. And that entrepreneurship, that is so Latino. I mean, come on, we sell everything.
No kidding.
Everything. Yeah, no,
Yep.
I mean, when I was living in New York City, I used to go down, you know, my office was right next to the Mexican consulate. There was a woman selling tamales, the best tamales I've ever had in my life. And she was hustling that shit. Started with un por ahí, you know. She's like selling it, running it, doing it. Next thing you know, she's got a fucking food truck. Come on,
yo, bro. Let me tell you. In my neighborhood, I used to buy anything from 5-gallon mayonnaise from the school that the Tecato broke into and stole it, or the cable box that already has a card, and you have the illegal box.
Shit happens, man. You know what I mean?
Hustling is real, bro.
I mean, that's why I love Washington Heights, man. I love the Heights, man. I just like, there you go, man. But you know, guys, honestly, what you guys are doing is so important. And I'll be honest with you, because it's just something where, you know, going around the world and seeing how other countries build up their people, you know, like I live in Malaysia. I was there for 5 years, and Malaysia is an incredible melting pot. And you see how everyone is focused on growing up and helping themselves move forward and helping their community move forward. And it's inspirational to see that Chinese, Indian, Malay, all building themselves up and growing and running the show. So when I come back over here and I'm like entering the land of Trump, and I'm like, oh, okay, I forgot about this. And it's like this. So this is also the other side of it, where it's like, you know, we have, I'm not going to say that we're obligated, but at the same time, we have the opportunity. And I think it's something where we got to do something, because I'll be honest with you, I hate being the only one in a conference that is Latin, who's not pouring coffee, not cleaning the table, cleaning the bathroom. I can't stand it. And that's just one of those things that I see, and I see it every day. And it's like, you know, it's not, don't cry for me, but it's just, come on, man. It's more than this shit. I mean, that's what I'm just trying to say. And that's why things like Bacon Switch, that's what it's about. It's about releasing it and basically putting it in the languages that people can understand, because everyone's got that dream, right? Everybody wants to be something.
That's right.
So, you know, that you know, that's all I got to say on that, man. You know,
and you're doing it.
Yeah, I just want you to know, man, you really blowing me away, because it's like you are so grounded, brother. And it's one of my buddies, Eddie Garcia, his two grandkids, when you said the story about you and your brother taking those computers apart and putting them, these guys started doing this when they were like 12 years old recently.
Exactly. That's how it starts.
And they put the shit back together, and they build their own computers now.
This is the thing, yeah. Take that right there. Check out the statistic. People who work in video games and technology, the minimum salary these people make is no more than $70,000 a year, and it goes up from there. And if you think about basically of the 40 million people who are laid off, the average salary was $30,000. $30,000 ain't enough to buy a computer, pay for rent. It ain't enough to do shit.
Right.
So if you think about this, the upwards mobility and the ability to get out of poverty, it all starts with what you know. And it's as simple as those kids taking apart those computers and basically teaching someone else how to do it. And it's a skill that a child can learn. That's what's crazy. It's not about being, you know, I appreciate being called a learned person, but honestly, I have a high school diploma. And then I went to school.
Yeah, but that's just going to start with kissing your ass.
You know? No, but
right,
you know what I mean? I was like,
but there's also the fact that you were allowed to do that as a kid. There are kids who don't have parents that let them play and explore. And I feel like when a child finds something they're passionate about when they're a kid, they should be allowed to explore that, because a lot of times genius is seen in many different ways. It's not necessarily getting a college degree, you know? And so you were allowed to explore. And I think that that's awesome.
Well, guys, I think I finally have something to add to the conversation.
No.
Alexander, would you then advocate for more screen time for kids rather than cut back on screen time? Because I know parents are like, no, too much screen time is going to fry your brain. Are you an advocate for more screen time for kids?
No, okay. It's a very good question. So here's my thing about screen time. I think screen time utilized in the right area, sure. So if I see my kid basically watching like a U Academy or a YouTube video on how to do something practical, I'm fine with that. But if you're telling me more screen time just to sit there and play endless blow shit up, then no, because honestly, at one point in time, you need to connect your entertainment with your future. So I'm an advocate of drawing a link between what I entertain myself with to what I want to do as a profession. And to the point of basically about the freedom of being able to do what we wanted to do, it was really simple. My mom was smart. She's like, I don't want you to be a statistic. So I'm going to see what you love. Oh, you like video games? Boom, here's a Nintendo. Play here, stay in the house. Don't go outside. Don't get into trouble. So my aunt sold the Nintendo to my mother very simply this: it's the best babysitter you'll ever have. And that was how it started. 8 years old. That's where it started from. And this is that idea that if you see that that thing your child wants to do, you basically support it. And especially if you know that it can get them ahead. And
you nurture it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to nurture it. It's just, it's easy to say, oh, this shit's not going to be worth anything. Well, how do we know? Like, I didn't know that video games is going to become a freaking $200 billion industry.
Right.
I mean, shit. I mean,
no kidding.
No kidding. I mean, this is the numbers behind video games is ridiculous. And that's what's even crazier. The amount of money this industry is making is going to a few groups of people. And let me tell you who's not being a part of that. Nosotros.
Yeah.
Oh, bueno, I mean, what kind of bullshit is that?
Yo, let me tell you, I did Grand Theft Auto.
I did one of those too. They need so many people for those games.
I know, I did Liberty City, but just a couple of voices. Hey, cabrón, pendejo, get out my way.
I did a couple of those
It's
too.
kidding, man.
No, so the crazy thing is like I asked them, so how much is this game going to cost to develop? And they said, oh, we're putting like $50-75 million into what? And then I go, yeah, but we make all that back in less than a day.
The same day, bro. The same day.
Same day. It was $1 billion.
Rockstar Games was killing it with those.
Bro.
But does that happen with the smaller, lesser known games too? Like, what's the return for the ssmaller games?
So here's the thing. So it's all like, we can get down. Let's get into straight up economics, right? If I'm making a game in New York City, that shit ain't cheap. Clearly, because people in New York, they need to eat. But if I'm making a game in Kuala Lumpur or, Latino America, Mexico, DF, the profit margins get huge because the costs to make them are less based upon where the people are living. So you can see some of these indie games, 2-people teams, 4-people teams, 10-person teams. I mean, they can pull down anywhere between basically 15 to 20 million on an investment of 250, 400,000.
Wow.
So this is where it's in puro crema, right? If we really look at this, right?
Right.
We get over to this idea that like Grand Theft Auto, right? They may have spent, let's say 75, 80 million to make the one you were in. They made $1 billion in one day. So let's just say that it was 80 million development, 80 million in marketing. They still made fucking profit and they killed it. So when we look towards basically the games industry, right now, it's not uncommon for these AAA games, basically the games that sell PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Well, let's say PlayStation and Xbox. Nintendo is not as expensive, but PlayStation and Xbox. Those games, for the big ones, it's not unheard of for these to cross over 100 million in development.
Absolutely.
You're talking about massive production, and that's development. That's not marketing. So the return can be high, but the failure, well, I mean, it can be high as well. So they can't do too many of those. So if you think about it for the small developer, there was a Mexican developer that made a game called Cuphead that looks like a 1930s cartoon. And these guys, they made a game that basically, 6 years ago now, it's still selling. I mean, it's done over 1 million copies, easy over 1 million copies. And so you think about this for a team in Mexico. I mean, come on. 1 million copies of anything is going to be, even if it was $1 a copy, it's still $1 million. So, I mean, you're still rolling. So this is, again, something to think about and why it's so important for us to just understand the dynamics.
How does development work? Like, I don't know anything about video games, so what's the process? Is it like you write a game and then you hire people to make it, or?
So you can look at it like this. So like, let's say if you guys are familiar with film and television, so you take a step back, right? So, in generally what generally tends to happen is that some people create a game design document, a GDD, which basically explains the entire design of how a game is going to function. They break it down into the component pieces of like, okay, here's what this is how the game plays. This is how the game looks. This is how we're going to basically bring people in to monetize them. It's a very traditional way of doing it. Another way is you just make a demonstration. You take technology like Unreal, you start basically putting stuff together, you start trying to find fun, because remember, the key of a game is to find that one loop that makes you want to keep playing. So that's called the game mechanic. You're trying to find fun. Now, finding fun is hard, just like, making a joke funny is hard. It's like, not all jokes are funny. The reality.
You heard that, Casper? Did you hear that?
I have to enjoy it every week with you, Louis. Yes, I heard it.
You gotta find that fun. But what ends up happening is basically they sit down and they start finding basically ways of putting that together. And then once it starts to build, it's like making a layered cake, right? You found the fun, you start designing the world, you start designing the art, and all the pieces start coming together. At first, you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? What is this? It looks nasty. But then at one point, you're like, oh, but it's fun, and then you just start to build on top of that. So we have basically the origination, you have a pre-production, production, post-production, shipping, and then from there, we go into DLC and ongoing content that gets released. And honestly, like some games like Grand Theft Auto, like GTA 5 came out, I think, it got to be at least 3 years ago. They're pulling down money hand over fist every year because in the end of that, I think it was like $100 million still, because they put online services into it. Because remember one thing, the thing that games can do when they go online is they can connect people. And what are you going to do in this time? You're going to want to speak to someone, play with someone, and games personify things.
I'm also seeing there with some other comments, Gustavo, if you can put them up, like the one with Ralph that says not to mention all add-ons to these games. They make tons of money with the add-on assets. Heck, they're saying the same thing.
That's my brother right there, Cabron. What is he doing over there? Look at him.
He's chilling. What's up, Hector?
I know. He's in Tokyo right now.
Loot boxes. What's a loot box?
Loot boxes are kind of like you don't know what's inside of the box, so you pay money for it, and then surprise, you might get something valuable or you might get a lump of coal.
That's awful.
Yeah, that is awful. At that point in time, it's a gotcha mechanic. You really that's when you see companies do that. You're like, come on, man. It's like, what are you doing to the kids?
That's when they get poor kids.
Somebody saying, dude, get that guy off.
That's his brother. That's his brother. Hey, Hector, if you got a camera, you can come on there and log on and say, what's up, bro? We're here. Gustavo, send him a link.
So he's like isolating in Tokyo?
No, so my brother works for PlayStation. So he lives in Tokyo right now. So he's literally out there right now working. It's like what is the time right now? It's probably like about 9. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning for him right now. Just about, it's about 9 a.m. for him. So he's out there. I told him I was coming on here when I said, hey, take a look at this. I didn't tell him until like 30 minutes before. I'm like, take a look at this. And he's just like, what? I'm like, that's right.
So how long has he been out in Tokyo?
I think like 8 years.
Oh, wow.
He's been out there for a bit. I think he's out there. He's gone all in, and basically it's like, Japan's awesome, man. It's like, I love going out to visit them, going in between. And
oh man, I hear the food is great there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm dying to go.
The food, the drink, the people, the culture, the nightlife is like, Japan is crazy, but in an awesome, fun way. So I would recommend for it, and especially like Latinos in Japan, because we're already at this level. And Japan is at that level. It's just gonna be like, you'll be like, that song, I'm turning Japanese. It's like, yeah, straight up.
I hear that we're pretty exotic there. That one of my friends went to Japan and said, bro, you don't understand. There was like people that would come up to me. They just wanted to touch me. Touch me.
What a lot of people don't know is that in Brazil, there was like Brazil at the turn of like the 1900s, 1920s. They had a program with Japan where they did an exchange of like soybean farmers, right? So you'll be in Tokyo, like at a hotel, just chilling, doing your thing. and you'll look up and you'll be like, wow, what is this Latino over there? And then she'll turn around and it's Japanese features, Latina body. And you're like, oh my God. It's like these two worlds cross together and you're like, holy shit, I didn't even know this was possible. And a lot of people don't know that because it's just like, you know, the mixing of Japan, it's already exotic. Then add us, it's exotic. It's like, you know, it just kind of
doubly exotic. Yeah,
it's like double exotic. You sit there, you're like, you know, very good. So it's a good time for everybody. You know what I mean? That's all I want.
We know what they're doing when you go there.
No, I'm well behaved when I'm out there. I'm there to do my business, ensure that the world basically unites under, you know, peace and harmony.
Let me ask you something. Okay, what's this question? Speaking of ownership, how does he feel about the transition from a real game versus the data?
If I understand, okay, real game to the data. So, do you mean from the standpoint of basically that it's the? Well, okay, I'm trying to understand that question because if he means from the standpoint that basically it's more about, it's more driven, like more of a. How can I say it's like free to play situation where you just keep playing it and then you pay to play.
Right.
I'm not so much about that. You know, I myself, I like premium products. I like that type of thing. From the standpoint of basically a transition from a situation where I'm wearing goggles, like virtual reality, absolutely incredible. I think this is great. The immersive environment that we're getting and what you are all going to see. And this is probably one thing I want you to get you guys ready for. So there's an entire thing of digital transformation of industry. What is happening is basically all of what we know how to do in video games in terms of user interface, engagement, making a world that you believe in is moving into other industries. Think like shopping, retail, think about like housing to basically understand the world and present this new world to you. So, you know, we all saw the Matrix saying like, oh my God, thank God I don't live inside of that world. That stuff comes to this world where we are actually going to be interfacing with things in our normal jobs just to be able to do things like, you know, The Mandalorian is a great example of video game technology used to make a film, to make a TV show. That is happening nonstop. That's all video game technology. And again, that's actually Unreal Engine as well. So it's pretty wild.
And they're using augmented reality and VR also for mental health patients too, right?
Exactly. And this is the key thing is that there's the ability to help and treat PTSD that's being done. It's using games,
which is incredible. Have you guys ever tried like the real virtual reality headsets? Like not the ones at home, but like it's like you're there. It's insane how good they are.
Louis, when you were doing Journey to the Center of the Earth, I believe I went with you to where they had you with all the suit with the little dots. And,
yeah.
Remember that? That was pretty awesome. But Mike, what I'm thinking is, when are we gonna do a video game? You know, because Louis ahorita wanted to do something with Felipe. When are we, like Jackie, Louis, me, doing some voices to video games with you, brother? Gustavo, shut the fuck up and get Hector online. Thank you. So anyway, when are we gonna do a video game, bro?
You guys should do a video game. I think the thing is what it really is that it's personality, right? You personify characters.
Right.
You're already a character. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys are hilarious. I mean, backstage I was laughing my ass off on this. Like, just it's funny. So you just got to get yourself in there. Now, granted, I don't think you could be something that's like, you know, G or, you know, PG.
Oh no, we could do little Louis and Friends. And do like a little cartoon video game where Louis and I go into the bodega and then we meet up with Jackie and then we try to get something fiat, but we need more points. And then we have to do an action. Yeah, exactly. You get the cat off the bread, you know, you bump into the piragüero guy, you know.
You have to negotiate the price.
That's actually good. Teach you life skills right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, have the side hustle, make it happen every day.
You have to make your own piragüero.
And Danielle, check that out. Gustavo put that up for us there, that comment. I wish Gustavo was more. I feel like he's not paying attention, bro. He's more focused on asking.
Okay. They're also using games in senior homes for muscle memory exercises.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, absolutely. I think, you know, one of the things that people don't also realize is that one of the fastest growing demographics of video game players are 50 plus. And really just take a step back.
Wow.
You got all these baby boomers.
Exactly, because remember,
Yeah.
79, 80 was when like all this video stuff. So at that time, in 79, I was 9 years old. I'm gonna be 50 this year. I grew up with the Atari 2600s, with the Commodores, with the Nintendo. You know,
Are you 50? Like, dude,
Yeah.
what?
I'll be 50 December 21st.
Oh my!
You don't look it at all.
I'm waiting for my AARP card. I'm like, yo,
Oh, it's coming, bro.
What?
It's freaking coming.
Dude, I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, I'm looking at like, wow, you got good genes, man. What's up with that?
Yeah.
dude,
Puerto Rican don't crack either.
I know.
No. I'm 64.
Hmm.
What?
And he looks like he's 72, not a day older.
Cabron.
He's like a modern day Edward James almost. He's
Yeah.
that is what you literally are going to transition to that. Like you're the guy. You're
He
taking
got
that
you, bro.
mantle. You got that is you. Like next thing you're going to do your version of Stand and Deliver. I can already see it. It's like
I'm
here.
feeling that.
I'm here. I'm
Coming, Papi. It's coming to a video game near you.
man. Because honestly, like, you know what? When's the last time you actually saw something that made you feel happy and inspired you?
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you. Like every time I turn on the news, I'm like, okay, let me turn that shit off. You know, so it's like,
Oh, brother, I stopped watching the news. I absolutely stopped watching. ¿Pa qué?
yeah,
You know, I turned it on for 5 minutes. Okay, eso pasó.
Yeah,
So I gotta ask you a question, bro.
Yeah, what's up?
So do you remember your first fight?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, tell us about it.
I do. Well, I mean, I'm a twin, so my brother and I used to beat the shit out of each other all the time. So let me just so if I go to my first one, it was no doubt my brother and I kicking the shit out of each other. But if we're talking about someone that was not, you know, not related to me or, you know, family, then basically it would have been in 7th grade. I was 13 and I was coming into a bus stop. So we had basically we had moved to another city and my mom had basically kept us in the same school, but we would have to commute roughly 30 minutes by bus to get there. So we'd have to get up early, 6 a.m., get on the bus to get to school by 8, and then basically come back with that. And one day my brother and I are sitting at the bus stop, and I grew up in Utah. So this is hillbilly. It can't get any more gringo than this. It can't get any more blanquito than this. It can't get any more than like straight up like, I mean, if you guys ever saw Footloose, that was filmed like 10 minutes from where I grew up. It literally.
Were you guys still not allowed to dance at that time?
No.
No.
We're Catholic, so you know we're drinking every Sunday. So you know, but we're surrounded by Mormons, and so I remember this very well because basically there was this crew of jocks that used to run around, and they had this one kid with them that basically he's like he was the only African American in the community, like literally the only one. And basically they would just treat him like shit. And basically one day at the bus stop, I told him like, why are you guys giving him such a hard time? And the little leader punk ass of the group basically stepped up. So I stepped up and then we got into a fight. And it was just basically like, here you go. And I mean, I grew up in Utah. So let me just be very straight up. It's like Utah. It's like, there ain't shit there. It's like, at least, well, there is now, but before then it was like a real river runs through it type of thing. You know, like it was like cows and horses and jackasses that were people.
And guys with 10 wives.
Yeah, actually, that's actually true. A friend of mine, his dad was a polygamist. That was
Really?
Oh yeah, really. The day we found out, it's like I'll never forget it. We're like, why is the house so big? And why is everyone mom? And at that moment in time, you're like, oh shit. It's like then you realize what's going on. I mean, you know, it was not technically not legal, but ain't like anyone was going to turn them into the local sheriff's department, you know? So, I mean,
I'm curious to know, was it a happy family?
You know, I always ask this question, like on the outside, maybe, but the thing is I look at it like, I don't know anyone, man or woman, that could have 10 of the same thing and be like happy. Relationships are hard. Why would you make it that much more like 10
more complicated? Yeah, exactly. Let me just intensify this shit.
Yeah, I know. You know, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm fighting. It's like, what kind of bullshit?
Yeah, exactly. Because I need to be arguing with wife number 2, sister wife number 3, sister wife this one. Remember that show? What was the Big House? There was a show on HBO that.
Big Love.
Big Love.
Right.
Big Love.
And you know, the thing is that was real. And you know, the thing is, like, you know, I know that. You know, obviously it's kind of gone hush hush now after all these, you know, exposés happen, but people do weird shit, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what can I say?
Guys, you can't remember. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay, oh my God. So I wanna ask you, brother.
Yeah.
So, because I asked a lot of the same questions, but what has been your biggest life lesson?
That you don't give up. And this is the life lesson that came from my grandma. My grandma had 17 kids, 13 survived, right? And that lady came to the United States when she was 49 years old, and she busted her ass like nonstop. And she used to tell me these things from you have to have good PR to basically you're going to work and that's how it's going to be. And so when she passed away, looking at that life and looking at what it took to come to the United States and to grind, and we all know people that basically are first generation here, how hard it is. That was a life lesson. So anytime that I got to a point where I was like llorando, being like, oh, life is so hard. Oh my God, it's unfair. I just would remember her and be like, you know what? I went to school. I'm not in the jungle. Ortega is not the president, at least not yet. Wouldn't know until later. And basically here I am. And that kept me going because, in the end of the day, you can't give up. But again, you don't know that unless you've seen that. And that's one of those things that I was able to get. I was able to have that inspiration for me. And I learned from that every day. So that's really where it comes from. And everything else has been like, you burn your hand, you fix it, but you got to be accountable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You've heard of the Travis Scott meal and the J Balvin meal. Well, now, all of your favorite celebrities are getting their own customized value meals. Try the President Trump meal.
It's a double cheeseburger with a side of remdesivir and steroids, which I don't really need because I'm too strong for COVID.
And you'll love the Johnny Depp meal.
The Johnny Depp meal is chicken nuggets with 2 bottles of wine, and it's delicious, especially the wine part.
And don't forget about the Tom Cruise meal.
The Tom Cruise meal is a lettuce wrap that you can only get if you parachute into the drive-thru, grab it, and then fly off wearing a jetpack. Help me feed you. Help me feed you.
Our new line of celebrity meals. Try one today.
We're coming right back with the Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez show. More to come, more to come, more to come. Mira, ya viene.
Coming to the Food Network. It's the cooking show you've been waiting for. It's Cooking with Dr. Fauci.
Okay, today we're going to make a delicious chicken parmesan. First, put on your mask, then grab the chicken and roll it into breadcrumbs, then take off your mask and smell the chicken. Make sure it's good. Now put your mask back on, you moron. What's wrong with you? Now preheat the oven and take off your mask and put it back on.
You'll love watching Dr. Fauci prepare delicious meals.
All right, time to taste it. Take off your mask. Take a bite. All right, put your mask back on. What's wrong with you? Chew, chew, chew. Take the mask off and take another bite. Wow, so succulent. Put the mask back on, you fools.
It's Cooking with Dr. Fauci. Coming to the Food Network.
One was a social worker. The other one used to sell beepers. The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez show.
Huepa chuleta. Welcome back to the Luis Guzman, Casper Martinez, anguiando a donde quiera.
That's how we do. That's how we do.
Hi, true. You got any questions for me?
Fucking A, dude. Yeah, I mean,
what?
I don't know if it's appropriate for.
Dale, papi.
Now I'm curious.
I mean, yeah.
How many times are you gonna be able to ask Louis?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. That's a good question, man. Like, I just got to ask you. It's like, why, like, acting, dude? Like, of all the things, like, you're just like, fuck, I'm gonna be an actor. That's it, or like, how was it for you?
No, brother. I was actually a social worker in New York City, and I was very passionate about that. And one day, a couple of kids didn't show up to my program. I ran into Miguel Piñero. I hadn't seen him in a few years. He was a good friend of mine on the Lower East Side of New York City. And he told me, hey, man, I'm writing for a TV show. They're coming to New York. They might be looking for some people. So he gave me a phone number. I went in an audition. 3 weeks later, I'm co-starring on the season premiere of Miami Vice. I had no fucking clue what I was doing. All I wanted to get out of it was enough money to buy me a used car so I can drive to Orchard Beach on the weekends. And, I didn't really commit to acting till like 6-7 years after I had gotten into it, because it was nothing more to me than a hobby.
Yeah.
It was a way of me being able to subsidize my salary as a social worker.
Yeah.
And so, once I got burnt out being a social worker, and I took that leap of faith, and I made acting 100% my career. But for me, I never forgot where I came from.
Yeah.
I always go back to the neighborhood. I do a lot of speaking engagements with young people, teenagers. But I've been very, very much blessed. I've worked with everybody. But I got to tell you, brother, when I first started out in the business, I was very self-conscious of like how many Latinos were working on the set.
Yeah.
And they were always the guys with the black garbage bags refilling, and that's like, I was like, shit, we could do better. We can do better. So I'm a huge advocate. And, we are a very talented community.
Yeah.
Writing. I mean, my God, we got some of the best music in the world right now.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, but I think, the problem with Hollywood is the people that control it.
Yeah.
And the people that make the decisions in those rooms.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're bad people, but I'm saying is that the opportunity is not given to us to say, I want to green light this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to mold it like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's somebody else that's telling us that doesn't understand us, our culture. What they understand is numbers and statistics.
Yeah. And the thing is that's that unconscious bias. I think that's the word they're calling now for everything else. But the unconscious bias basically says, I know what I know. Or in Holland, the Dutch have a saying that says, what the farmer doesn't know, he doesn't eat. So if you don't know it, why would you do it? At the same time, when you know number and statistics, though, and you just look at the census, and you look and you say, oh wow, there's 70 million Latinos here, 70 million born, they're here. That's a massive market, and that it costs no one nothing to put one of them in the room who I hope earned it.
Right.
Hey, let's do this, because you know what? Now I got 70 more million people to sell the shit out of. To be sarcastic.
Yeah. Well, you want to know something, and a lot of people don't know this, but there are a lot of pension funds that are Latinos, Latinos that are in unions.
Yeah.
Whether they're in janitors union, nurses union, teachers union, and a lot of those pension funds are invested in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that's big bucks coming from the Latino community. And so I think there are some people within that fund structure that are Latino that are now telling these guys, yo, you guys got to step it up.
Yeah, they do.
We need a Marvel superhero lead who is Latino. And Casper, I was not thinking about you when I said that.
No, I know you were thinking about me. You want to say on the show that you weren't, but that's okay, bro. We'll talk afterwards.
So
you saw the Spider-Man, the Ultraverse, the one that came out with the Sony cartoon.
Yeah.
Miles Morales. When I realized that when his mom started speaking Spanish, I started crying on the plane. Like,
it was awesome. It was awesome.
Very cool.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was also on the plane, so I'm 40,000 feet in the air where I cry about everything.
Well, listen, I'm glad that we're talking about comic books and Latino, because I want to bring up Ralph Enriquez. He's backstage right now. Gustavo, can you bring on Ralph? Ralph's a good friend of mine, and he's actually created and is working on a superhero character, Fuerza. Tell us a little about that, Ralph.
So, hi everybody, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, pleasure meeting you all. So, Casper and I, we've known each other for years, back in the day at Parkchester and all that good stuff. And he and I became good friends, and we went to Comic-Con that year. Remember that year?
Oh yeah, I took my brother, and we got to meet all the captains of Star Trek.
Well, you did, not me.
Me and my brother.
You're royalty over here, But anyways, so Casper and I, we had talk, and then he said, "Well, guys, what do you do?" So I've been creating a Latina superheroine called Fuerza. So if you want to like kind of, it's like, what does she look like? Think of like a kind of a Captain Marvel type, but not in that sense. And there's also a female version, a spy, a genetically enhanced spy. Her name is Agent Garcia. And I have 2 comic books. One, Fuerza, is the main title, and the other one's called Rage in the Shadow, which has the character Agent Garcia. And for years now, I've been creating these things because, you know, like you guys have been talking about, we have to create our own content because no one's knocking on our door to say, hey, you know, what do you have for us?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And let me tell you, last week I saw the show and made Chadwick Boseman rest in peace. But I was also talking to Casper about when the Black Panther came out. I was so happy and I was so proud. Now, yes, I'm Latino, but it was like, I enjoyed, the African Americans enjoyed the moment of having a superhero on screen. So I was like, okay, this is fantastic, and I want to see more of this. When is the Latinos going to have their Black Panther moment?
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think that's something that we actually have to create.
Yeah.
You know, because Hollywood's not going to create it for us. We have to create it for ourselves.
Well, we have the ideas, we have the concepts. There's on paper, it's copywritten, all that stuff. But how are we bringing it to the masses? You know, who's actually putting up the money? You know, to create these things.
How much money you need?
If I were to give you a dollar figure, I would probably tell you, if it's a live action film, 10 million, only for the sole reason. Remember that movie Skyline? Okay, you remember Skyline, right?
Yeah, I do.
That was made 10 million, and the effects were beautiful, absolutely stunning. And now that we have the technology for Unreal Engine, Unreal Engine 5 coming up now, you know, what you have the power at your fingertips, and you don't have to spend that kind of Marvel money of 200 million. You follow what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. Tell that story.
Okay, so I'm going to work on getting that $10 million.
Go for
it. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not.
All right.
You know, because like I said, you know, we Latinos, we love entertainment. We love being entertained. But like you guys say, you know, look, for me, I don't know if you guys ever seen the play In the Heights.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
But when I saw it 4 times. Yeah. The first time I saw it, at the end, I cried.
Yeah,
I cried because I was so happy that I finally got to see on Broadway.
Yeah.
Something that I grew up with that related to me, to my upbringing, to my family, to my friends, and it was beautiful. And it had, I mean, you know what? Because of In the Heights, the world knows what a freaking piragua is.
Exactly.
They did a song.
I know.
Piragua. You know?
I forgot about that.
It's amazing, man.
You know, so I'm, you know, all of us here right now, I'm all about that. I will always be all about that, you know. So
you think about that show La Reina del Sur, that cost $10 million to make. And that was that's effectively what that was, to put that together. And in the end, you know, you don't even have to do live action locations. You're doing everything in a set. You're doing everything in real time. So you're not, yes, and 10 million is not $2, but right. 10 million is also not 100 million.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a scale thing that you can do. And I think ultimately in the end, you link this up with basically artists that have and want something to prove. So from a standpoint of visual effects, there's enough visual effects companies, like Latin visual effects companies from the US all the way down to Argentina, that I think would have no problem being a part of something like this. Because in the end of the day, they're looking for something that they can be a part of as well. And I think that's where you just got to basically, you just hustle it, man. And I think this is also something where, you know what is available in the market in terms of capital, it is there. There's more money than there are good ideas. That's just the reality. And money doesn't make the idea. Money is looking to help accelerate the idea. I think that's the one thing that we also have to remember too. The relationship with money that people have,
right?
It's scarce because we don't have it, but the reality is, it's not that it's not achievable. It's sitting there.
Well, we'll get you on board then, and maybe even do a video game.
I mean, I'm all,
there you go.
Helping people. I mean, listen. Here's the thing, man. It's like I think really all that comes down to is just basically planning and pushing your ass forward, and that's what you do.
But you know what? The biggest thing that I at least in my experience, what I've noticed is, okay, we have the ideas. Maybe you might get some funding to create the idea. It's also getting through the door. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, "Hey, here I am." No. You know.
No, but don't worry about the door, because we're not about going through the door. We're about buying the building.
Yeah, exactly.
And creating a door.
We're gonna buy the building.
Exactly, and the land, and the construction company.
I'll take it,
and the permits, because you know what? Why not?
Exactly.
What it is.
We're not asking for permission.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're not asking for permission.
And you know what? We never had to. But you know what? Someone convinced
But we always felt that way.
Exactly.
We always felt that way. We always felt like casa ajena. Vamos a hacer cuando te inviten a comer, no coma. Fuck that shit. I'm hungry.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's that Latino mentality. Like
Yeah,
to be polite and to wait your turn. And no.
Yeah, I want everyone on this panel right now to be part of it. How about that?
I mean, I think
we're here.
Even Gustavo.
No, we don't hear you. We don't hear you. There's no audio. There's no audio.
You're muted.
Order Gustavo.
That's how we get rid of Gustavo. We say, "Yo, there's no audio. There's no audio.
Just leave." But yeah, no, Ralph, listen, thank you for being with us. I'm gonna go ahead and bring over Hector, because I want to see Alexander's brother. Thank you so much for being with us, Ralph. Ralph is a great friend. He's going to be tuning in with us all the time. And Hector,
how are you guys? Can you hear me? I don't know. My mic, I've had technical difficulties. This computer doesn't work. But good morning. I hope you guys are all doing well.
Papa, you're in Japan and the computer don't work?
I mean,
what?
I usually have a joke about this, but because it's broadcast, I don't think I should say it. No, it's yeah. I've had better computers. Let me put it that way. But yeah, no, everything's good here, man. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It's hot as fuck. It's humid. Everything's going well. It's really humid, man. It's pretty bad,
how is dealing with COVID in Japan?
You know, this is actually something that I got to be very honest about. It's like in Japan, and just like through all of Asia, wearing a mask is very common out of respect for other people.
That's
when
right.
You're sick. And literally, there are times where you just wear it because you want to have some kind of moisture. So it was not like this craziness that we're seeing, at least on the news in America, of people feeling like social liberty, has been taken away because you've got to wear a mask and have some kind of respect for the person that's near you. So it wasn't odd. I was in China actually in December, and then again in January, like the week of Chinese New Year. And we had been following the news, and so we knew something was going on because it was coming out on the news here in Japan. When I was going over there, my wife's like, please just wear a mask. And usually I would wear it just to travel there anyways, because the pollution can be quite intense. And so, I wore it the whole time. And then the next week I go to Korea, and the news just starts increasing. And I remember traveling to Vegas, and I'm the only one literally in the airport in February flying in through LAX. I thought they look at me like patient zero. People are like, what the hell is this motherfucker? Like literally, because, it's kind of shocking. You see someone with a medical mask. I mean, think back just 6 months ago. It's like, what is going on here?
Right.
You got something going on. It was crazy. So I'm walking through with my mask on. I remember thinking to myself, don't worry, don't look at anybody. You're healthy. Let them stare at you. You're the one who's safe. You're going to be okay. I went from LA literally to Vegas, went through the airport wearing it the entire time. I thought I wasn't even going to be let into the country because the customs people were going to be like, take your mask off. Let's see who you are. But everyone here wears a mask. So we've been able to manage it and deal with it pretty well. I don't, it could always be better. We don't want people to die, but I think overall it's been pretty safe. Of course, I'm nervous. I don't want to go outside and get sick and get my kids sick, or be one of these people who are asymptomatic and then get everyone else sick. And then I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm fine. I just got a little cough, but everyone else died. So overall, it's been good. I guess I should say it's been positive, more so than what we're seeing on the news in America. So
good to know. What do you do? What do you do out there for PlayStation?
So I do business development. I manage the Japan Asia portfolio. I go around with my team looking for content to bring to PlayStation, primarily just here in Asia. So we go to Southeast Asia, to China, Korea, to India, just throughout this area, looking for video games to bring to the rest of the world.
Very cool. Are you working from home right now?
Yeah. This is my house. That's why I had technical difficulty trying to throw like a blanket on. It's like my morning. What time is it? It's 9:31 a.m. So my kid was running back here. He's like, "Give me some cereal." I'm like, "I'm on the phone." Go downstairs. Make your own food. You know what I mean? I'm sure as my mom watches this, just having like, "Oh my god, what's that?"
And she is watching. She just sent me a message saying she sees us both. So,
oh, that's cool.
I know, right?
With these two gemelos.
Yeah, you did a great job raising these two.
Oh man, thank you.
Well, I don't really know you guys. I'm just saying it based on this conversation. Who knows what you do before?
Hey, listen. Hey, we're family here. The people we bring in our circle, the energy we bring in our circle is good people.
I believe it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So when you two brothers started taking computers apart, who was the technician? Who was the technician, and who was the mechanic?
I would say I would say my brother basically led the way a lot of the time in being able to go and find information, just being able to go out there. I think I learned a lot by watching and seeing what was going on. But that was also the thing with video games in the 80s. A lot of times it was like one player, and then it could become two players. So that was really you would kind of have to take turns essentially going through. And then of course, when they were able to do multiplayer, we were all playing together. But no, I think it's been something where different parts of life, one leads, one follows. You kind of take turns doing stuff, but you do learn from each other. I see with my own kids, like my youngest son learned so much faster than my oldest one did. He's like a 1-year-old, and I feel like, God, you're more advanced than your 5-year-old brother. How is that even possible? Like, he's just having the influence of a sibling.
All kinds of stuff.
He's getting information, so. Yeah, really.
Are they speaking Japanese?
Yeah, my wife is half Japanese, half English. She grew up here, so she speaks to the kid in Japanese. I speak to him a little bit in Spanish, and then he has this weird form of English that he's developed. So, he's fitting right in. He's kind of somewhere in 3 languages at the same time.
It doesn't matter.
He doesn't even care. He's just trying to do the best he can.
Papi, I want a canepa sushi.
No, it's true though. Like when I fly into Korea sometimes, there's this place that I like to go called Takoria, and it's literally like Korean and Mexicano fusion, like together. It's so fucking good. And so there's a lot of that's going on, not just in Korea, but also here in Japan. Like they're starting to mix a lot of the foods together to give you different kind of flavors. It's awesome. It's really good. So it's like I'm hoping more of that happens, right? So we just share our culture through food and obviously speaking with each other.
Yeah, they have that in New York too, but it's the Asian cooks giving you fried rice and fried chicken.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? He's got Ugly Delicious. What's that guy's there's a cook. What is this guy's name? David Chang, I think is what his name is. I think he's got like a bunch of restaurants where he does this stuff, where it's all kind of fusion stuff. Anyways, I can't even remember his name.
Mexican food, the Cuban Chinese cuisine.
Yeah.
Yeah, hay mucho chino cubano, and you know that we used to get a lot of that up in the Bronx. But when you guys aren't making like pupusa and something Japanese, mixing it up.
I mean, they should though. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Something pupusa y algo. Like it's like that sounds actually good. Yeah.
So let me ask you, Hector. So when you first got there and they start speaking in their language, Japanese, of course, you know, you bust out speaking in Spanish, try to mess them up like that?
Well, you know, it's kind of crazy. I think for a lot, Japanese people, like obviously they can sit there and they can look everyone who's not Japanese as just being foreign, right? You know, everyone's gaijin, just a foreigner who's outside of there. But the reality is that I think that the more and more the cultures have just been integrating. There's a bunch of there's an immigrant population that's growing around here for sure. So I think they're becoming more used to different kinds of people from all over the world. And, you know, Japonés, like that phonetically is very similar to Spanish in the way that you actually pronounce things. So it's,
give me some examples.
Interesting. Well, it's like the same thing like A-E-I-O-U, like the actual phonetic, like the actual pronunciation. It's like, here's a basic one. Pan is pan. Pan is bread. Pan is bread in both languages.
Get out. For real?
For real.
Oh,
for real.
I'm going to survive when I go to Japan.
I'll tell you, you find yourself a little salsa club, which they have quite a bit here, and a couple of they like to dance.
That's right.
You go out there and have a good time. You'll do well, Luis. You know, I mean, you can come out here and enjoy yourself.
That's funny because my boy David Mars right here on the comments is saying that Japanese people love dancing salsa music.
They love it.
Orquesta de la Luz, salsa y control, salsa y control.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But they want to feel the heat, so I mean, you know, that's how it goes.
In Osaka, there is actually a huge Japanese Chicano community. So, like, this is amazing. But basically, there's a place called La Puerta in Osaka that there's a guy who's obsessed with Chicano culture. He comes to South Central. He goes to the East Side. He buys all of the, you know, from the clothing to the rags, the do-rags, and then he brings it back to Japan, and they get all choloed out. Like they have cholos y cholas, they have lowriders. It's a huge thing.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's like, wow, man. So it's like,
but that's really like Japanese, right? To get to the essence of something, they're so about craftsmanship and being able to understand why something like at the spiritual level makes sense. You can go find anything here, whether it's hip hop music or it's like chocolate or just any subject. There is someone who is like an ultra fan who gets it and they respect it for what it is. And that's a really, it's kind of, it's weird to say, but it's quite beautiful to see people appreciating something at that craftsman level. You really can get a sense that it's real for them. It's not just kind of like a trend. So I actually enjoy that quite a bit.
So let me ask you, so how many times did you guys as brothers like would say, okay, Papa, step back, I got this guy?
You mean like getting into a fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think most of the time, if we weren't beating the shit out of each other, it was basically...
Which he said that earlier.
Yeah. Oh, did he really? No, it's actually, I think that a lot of times because there's two of us and because we're, you know, it's a lot of energy at one time that it didn't seem like there was a lot of problems. But if we got into it, we get in it together, right? Because we're brothers. So it's just, let's go. Let's throw down. Let's just get into it. So,
Can I ask a question, guys?
Oh no!
I have twins, right? But they can't really form full sentences yet. And I was wondering, so if one of you gets a paper cut, does the other one feel it?
We're talking about the hypersense thing.
Yeah.
So, like,
does that happen sometimes?
So here's the thing about that is that you have, I mean, there have been times in our lives where we've been separated, where something's happened and the other one knew something bad had gone down, and you get an overwhelming sense of feeling. It's not a, you know, I don't know how to call it, but I can tell if he's not feeling good, I can tell something's going on. And basically it's just, you just sense it. And it's just something that happens. And in terms of your twins not forming full sentences, it's actually quite normal. Twins develop a language and they only start talking when they want to talk. and especially because they're usually talking to each other. So you just got to get used to it. My mom tells my wife all the time, it's like they didn't start talking to me until they were 4. So
really,
yeah, we would entertain the shit out of each other. Through
my mom still complains about it right now.
Yeah.
Like when we get in the room for Thanksgiving, like we'll sit there and we're having she'll say, stop talking to each other, because we're literally like, we get what's going on. And so we're like, you know what I mean? And we're having this thing and she's like, shut up. Like it's weird. It's kind of like we understand what's going on without speaking. It's kind of weird.
Now that we have both of you here, give me a little background, you guys, because I know you guys said your mom's from Nicaragua, but you guys were born out in Nicaragua, ended up in Utah.
Born in Utah. So our mom's from Nicaragua, our dad's from El Salvador, and we grew up in Utah. So it's like, but we're pretty much, for a lot of people, like the lightest Latinos they ever knew. Because we didn't get
look at this crowd. Look at Jackie.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell you, the only person who ever knew I was Latino who guessed it was this black kid from Baltimore, who when I'm 18, he goes, "Oh, you're Puerto Rican," and I was like, "Oh my God, you think I'm Hispanic? Thank God." Because you know what? Like I'm telling you, that never happened to me. This shit never happened in Utah. They're just looking like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, what are you?" Like, they didn't know. So it was like an honor right there. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna start crying right there. You never get identified, right? It's like people are like, what the hell is this mutt? And come on, my name's Alexander and my last name's Fernandez. It's like, really, it's like, it's got already broken in between, but it's identity though. You know what I mean? Culture and identity. You don't really become aware of it, especially if you don't grow up around it. Again, you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
So it's one of those things. So that's why New York is so cool.
Yep.
Yeah. When I was in one of my first tech jobs. Yeah. What's up?
No, go ahead, Papi.
No, I was just gonna say, like when I used to work at Electronic Arts, EA, the guys that do all the EA Sports Days games way back in the day, and I was working for this. They called it the Graphics Training Council. So we would train other studios that were purchased by EA how to use 3D computer graphics software. Anyways, I was working there one night, and this Mexicana came by who was just cleaning everything. She took care of our office, and she'd come in, and we would always have a conversation. We'd be speaking Spanish, and I remember this time, one of my bosses, he overheard us speaking, and when she left, he kind of like sneaks over towards me, and he's like, who was that? And I'm like, oh, that's Maria. We're just having a conversation. He's like, what? But why? And I'm like, what do you mean why? Like, I don't even understand what you mean by why. Because because we relate. I understand because those jobs are exactly the same jobs my family have. What are you talking about? And it's something where I realized at that moment in time, and this is really something more about, I guess, just the idea of identity and technology and skin color, all of them matched together, is that it's so predefined who everyone is just by the way you look. No one ever thinks about the depth of anybody anymore. And I remember at that moment in time, this person, I think he just started to realize that I was more three-dimensional than maybe what he saw on the resume or who he was speaking to, because I didn't even think about it. This gal and I, we talked every day, and there would be times for people to overlook, because my job in the office is doing work, but she is basically taking care of the office, the facilities portion of it. And I think that was one of the first times that I ever really became super aware of just the kind of class difference between those who are working and dressed a certain way versus the people who are basically taking care of the office building. But to me, we were the same blood. I mean, she's my sangre as much as I am hers. So I didn't understand what the problem is. Yeah. So this was something that was very weird. And I don't know if that's a Silicon Valley thing or if that's just a human thing, but it was really irritating. And there's been many times like that, I think, in life, just generally speaking, because there are not a lot of Latino people in tech. There's certainly not a lot of Latinos in video games. It's like, it's like miscast. It's just like, we just consume, we never get to make. And I'm sure my brothers talked about this, but the power is in creating the content. It's being able to represent yourself so that other people feel inspired by that. And I hope that that's what happens through all the work that you guys do as well. So anyways, that's my soapbox.
Well, I just want to say that you two brothers on this show have been a total inspiration You know,
Absolutely, I
to
agree.
myself, and I'm sure a lot of people that are checking in right now. So, you know, I love what you guys are doing. I nothing but respect. You know, this is my first time meeting you two brothers, and I
Won't be
am
the last.
I am beautifully and intellectually stimulated and impressed. So,
Well, thank you. I mean, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having us on.
And honestly, I mean, come on, man. I mean, we were watching you when we were starting.
Yeah, good, man. I know, absolutely.
That's extremely powerful, man. I mean, it's like, you know, it's same thing to you, man, and even more so. I mean, you blaze a trail. I mean, honestly, it's like it takes courage to do anything, let alone stand up when basically, you know, one of these things is not like the other. And basically, this is one of those things where for every one of you, and, you know, Luis as well, I mean, honestly, dude, it's like, you just have to have people that show you that it's possible. And that is just like the ongoing theme, I think, for everything that we see, is that as long as you see it, then you know it can happen. And I think that's the amplification that honestly shows like what this show is, and the content that you guys are making, and just really just having a real conversation. Like, I know we're funny and everyone has a good time, but there's also the other side, which is like, shit, I need to pay my bills.
Right.
For school. And that's the part right there where if we can get that right with people, then you change everything. It's like, I would love for everyone to basically not have to worry about, you know, the 31st or the 1st. That would be it right there. Now, granted, I mean, you know, it's a different world, but man, I tell you, it's possible, and it's just being inspired. And so I want to thank all of you and having us on here. And, you know, obviously Casper, you know, honestly reaching out and saying, hey, let's do this. Cause like, bro, you were the first one to ever basically tell our story, like when we were just fucking two pendejos. You know, living it out. I mean,
what do you mean were? What do you mean were?
I fucking cleaned up. I cleaned up.
Well, listen, I love that we're doing this. Absolutely. I mean, we're on this platform that we get to tell each other stories. We get to create awareness. And I really want people who are inspired. On the Facebook fan page, we're going to put the vlog page again. So there were some people who were asking before about, hey, where's the vlog page? So we can get more. We need more Latino video game developers.
Yeah.
We need more Latinos involved in the video game industry at all capacities.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And my nephews are all huge gamers. My niece too, actually. And one of my nephews actually wants to create games and started doing it himself. So I'm definitely going to point him towards your vlog, because I think he'll get it. You know, he'll get some use out of it.
Please do. And if there's any questions out there, honestly, from the standpoint here, if there's anyone out there that is curious, on that page where the vlog is, you can ask questions and I answer them. So the thing is of this, like, you know what, you may not like what I have to say, but at least you get an honest answer.
That's right.
This is the key thing. Yeah. So you know what, you know, nephews, nieces, brothers, sisters, lovers.
We ain't going to sugarcoat it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no shit.
It is, you know.
You know? Oh yeah, Papa, have you felt any earthquakes out there in Japan?
Holy shit, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I gotta be like, so I work on the 13th floor of this building. One day, I'm not fucking kidding you, dude. Like the building starts moving, and because they're built on like is it a stilt? It's some kind of
springs. There's a spring that
springs, right?
See.
So I'm sitting here in the office, and I'm feeling this movement, and I look up and I'm looking around, and all my colleagues are like, and I'm like, holy shit, it's an earthquake. It's an earthquake. And everyone's just like, just calm. They're like, oh, it's not that big. I'm like, are you kidding me? The building is moving. But they're just like, they're so used to it. And it happens so frequently. I don't say I'm not used to it. It still freaks me out. It happens almost every week.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. It's like the building moves. You feel it. And there are moments where I can sit on a couch and I almost like freak myself out because I'm like, am I moving or is it the building moving? Because it's that frequent. So
yeah, that's crazy.
It's real.
I was in a building once in LA when that happened on the top floor, and it did the same thing. It feels like you're on a waterbed, but you're supposed to be still. It's so disorienting. Yeah. It's scary. It's scary.
I was in Osaka visiting Hector. I went down and I went to go visit in the south, and there was a 6.5 earthquake that hit about 150 miles away. I was up on the 35th floor, and I had been drinking. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's just me. I'm getting loose. Like this. I heard the glass start creaking. And I jump. That's the most sober I ever fucking got. I went sober like this. I jump, pick up the phone, start sending WhatsApp messages to my wife, like, I left it down with the ghetto and all this shit. Like, I'm like fucking crying on the phone. And I send shit to my staff, my team, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, because
last will and testament.
That was it. And basically, I wake up the next morning, and of course, my team is just like, you're such a bitch.
I know. He had a whole list. Pablo gets all the Smurf balls, Gustavo gets all the He-Man action figures.
All the Smurf dolls. Like, I got the worst gift.
Exactly. All my VHS movies.
I know, exactly. You get my laser disc, man.
My laser disc. There you go.
By the way, the best version of Boogie Nights was on Laserdisc. Let you know right now. Fucking hands down. Brilliant box set. Was it right there? That's it. Just going to say that. Leave it right there. I don't know where it is anymore.
But I mean, have you guys come out to Asia? Have you guys been to Japan? Have any of you guys toured out through here, like traveling around to check it out?
I did a stopover in Japan on my way to the Philippines.
Oh, yeah.
Did you go have some balut in the Philippines? Have you seen them eat this egg, the half developed? I hope I'm saying it right. That kind of half developed.
They offered that. I offered that to me. And I'm like, nah, I can't do it.
Sure, you weren't like curious a little bit?
It's like the tequila worm.
Oh, hell no.
But what is that?
Yeah, what is it?
It's basically like a half-developed like fetus of a chicken, and an egg.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah, no.
And it's all crunchy and.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna vomit just listening.
My friend from Guatemala, he got married and his grandma was eating it, and she's like, "Do you want some of this?" I'm like, "Nah, it's all good, bro." Like,
I actually have a story about that. We went to the Asian market here one time, picked up some fish, and I see these giant eggs in the register. So I got a couple. We got home, we cracked them open, and there's these little ducks inside with the beaks and everything.
Oh my God!
We had 3 of them, so we had to bury them because the kids saw that too. It freaked them out.
It was the green market, wasn't it? You went to the green market?
No, it was an Asian market.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for real.
Yeah, no. Have you tried it?
No, man. I just can't even. I mean, although I've had some crazy ass shit out here in Japan, like being out here, I've just come to this idea that like I will just try it because sometimes things will surprise you at how good it is.
Oh yeah,
Weird story. Like I took my mother-in-law and my wife to go eat at this hotel over here. And, sometimes like everything in Japan can be like very individual meals. Like everything is like a little nibble of many plates.
Right.
And so, we eat like 12 of these things and I'm just like, fuck, I'm still hungry, man. And my wife said, oh, don't worry, I'll get you something. This woman comes in, she's got this box. And inside of it is like this giant, it looks like a Mario Brothers turnip. Like it's just a giant turnip bowl kind of thing. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, that looks good. And inside of it, there's this kind of like pink kind of matter. And then there's these white jelly beans on the top of it. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh man, it looks so good. And my wife, she's like, she's translating to me, like, as I'm like getting the box, all just sitting down like, oh man, I'm going to grub on this. It looks so good. I'm going to be full. And as I'm like taking a scoop to put it into my mouth, my wife, I will not forget the words as I'm swallowing this. She's like, oh, and this is the crab brain with fish sperm. I sat there and I was like, what in the fuck is this? But I got to be honest with you, it was some of the best sperm I've ever had. So I really enjoyed it. So I was just really like,
that's not my living in
exactly. That is like my joke of the year for this. No, but it was, to be honest with you, it was actually quite good. It's called shirako. Yeah, it was just, and the white jelly bean, it is actual sperm.
So sperm and crab, you said?
The brain.
Crab brain. How big was the brain? Because you said it was big.
It was a bunch. Like, well, the turnip bowl was like huge, and then the brain. It was kind of like, it was quite a lot of crab brain that they'd scooped in there. But it was like the the jelly bean looking things. Imagine like a Jelly Belly, just kind of
Right.
It's like a different form of caviar.
Pretty much.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it was actually quite good, but
they're like that. That chromosome sounds great. We went to China and we're in there, and they, after being paraded around different parts of the city.
Oh my God, I remember this.
They sit down and basically they sit around tables, right? And they bring out the food. We're all starving, and the plate is it's a bowl with an upside down bowl on top, and it starts going like this. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, why is it moving? Oh, they're like, that's tiger fights snake. I'm like, what do you mean tiger? Like translation. And we open it up, and literally it's an insect, basically an ant attacking a wasp. And basically you eat that. And you're like, we're like, what? I'm like, what is this? And it is like, that was the food. And so you're like, okay, let's try it. Let's see what it is. And, it's not so bad. It's crunchy. But, that wasn't the part that disgusted me. It was the part that then we went to go eat meat, and you're hungry, and they put a big serving tray. And, you guys know, you've seen in Texas, right? The Texas bull and the horns.
Mm-hmm.
When they lifted it up, it's the entire head there, right? Eyeballs, it's all there, tongue, brain half cut. And it's like that, and it's, don't get me wrong. Listen, it's a delicacy because shit, who the hell can pay for a head of a fucking bull that you're going to eat that?
But did they sazonar with adobo? Did they adobo?
It was honestly, you know what? As long as you didn't look at the eye that was dripping out of the fucking socket,
it was tasty.
It was tasty as shit.
But here's the reality, guys. That's what we eat anyway. We just
I know, but that I don't gotta see. That's the thing. We don't want to see it. But then you know what? You're like, oh, this steak's great. But when it was looking at me, and this was the worst. The woman that was with us gets the fucking spoon and she shoves it into the socket and then swallows it. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, come on. It's like, you're like, come on. To tell you.
Did she really have to do that?
No, well, she did because she said to me that basically, I swear to God, like the translation was like, it's good and it's tasty. In my mind, it was like, I now have the power of the bull. That's what I understood. Like, I list some weird, like, shit, man. Tell you, that's what traveling around the world.
I'll be very careful if you guys ever invite me out to dinner.
Oh, no. No. Thanks
for the heads up, Papi. I'll be like, but listen, I just want to take the time on behalf of Casper and Jackie and Gustavo and myself to thank you two brothers. Thank you for being game changers out there in this world, in this industry that you guys are in. You have inspired many people today. Keep inspiring. We'll be back. We'll be hanging out with you guys again. You be safe out there in those shaky buildings. And man. And like I tell everybody, till we can hug again. And again, you guys, thank you so much for your time. And I'm really, really proud of you guys. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
All right.
Arigato.
Arigato.
That was awesome, man. That was
awesome. They're very, very, very cool and very put together. Like,
let me tell you something. I met them, like he said, many years ago. I don't know. I don't even think it was 2005. It might have been around that time. But when my friend Jasmine had told me, hey, I'm going to Germany and I'm going to Amsterdam, I reached out to Hector and Alexander. We had met that time for the interview. We kept in contact and they treated Jasmine like family. My friend called me and she was like, yo, your boys are mad cool. They gave me keys. They were like, yo, here, this is the house. There's about 10 of us that live here because they lived in a big old place. And they were like, come in and out as much as you want. Smoke out if you want, hang out if you want, do whatever you want. And I was like, yo, that's really cool. She went to
Okay, thank you for that, Casper.
Damn, you so
I need to get some some silly.
I think the most exotic thing I ever ate was in Egypt, and it was pigeon.
Okay, thank you. So, so people out there, Gustavo, get out of here. People out there, people out in California and Oregon. Our hearts go out to you guys. You guys are dealing with some pretty massive fires out there and stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, again, please be safe. Look out for one another. If you got to get out of there, get out of there. You know, just be safe. From what I'm hearing, another topic, the second round of what's going on is the second round of all this financial stuff that's going on with the government. I'm hearing nobody's going to get a stimulus check. I don't know what these idiots are out there are thinking. And as far as Europe goes, I understand there was the largest refugee camp that they have in Europe. The whole thing burned down. So now we got refugees with no shelter. And I want to bring this up, you guys. So Christy Alley is mad about the Oscars' new diversity requirement. What's up with that? What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think the diversity requirement is essentially that in order to qualify for a Best Picture Oscar, you have to have an underrepresented person either in one of the leading roles in your cast or in the production or in the marketing of the film, which I don't think is a lot to ask for at all. I mean, if you're looking at it like just casting, there are some films that won't, speak to that. Like if you're doing like Dunkirk, for example, that movie's not going to have, a black woman in it. It's just not. So, but in those cases, you cast, the underrepresented talent behind the camera. So I don't really see an issue with it. I kind of think it's a good thing. I understand the other argument too, that we shouldn't have to get handouts or whatever, but by the same token, it's not happening the other way. So why not try something new? That's sort of how I'm looking at it.
Casper, what's your take?
I just wanted to ask you, Christy Alley, you're talking about the actress who
yes,
and she's upset about this initiative. What upset her about it? What was it that she feels like you just finished saying that, oh, here we are, we're now giving a handout, when the reality is these studios haven't opened up for Latinos the way we put our money into their movies, because at the end of the day, we are consumers of all these projects, and we should be included. And if this is the way they're doing it, at least it's making an effort to adjust and include us in this platform and give us the opportunity to showcase our projects there.
Okay, and I agree. I want to keep it moving because we ain't got that much time.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Exotic is asking for a pardon.
Hey, he's got the right president.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Joe Exotic is asking for.
They'll probably give it to him for season 2, just so he can be in season 2.
Joe Exotic is asking for pardon, and then Plástico 45 just got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I know. What the hell is
that? Are we fucking kidding?
That is like the most fucking bogus thing.
Who decided that shit?
Some Norwegian alt-right pendejo, because that they could just nominate.
They were smoking good weed and drinking really good wine because they got all that shit over there.
And that Norwegian pendejo said, well, we're going to go ahead and nominate this soplapote,
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe
it. I also got to bring this up. Okay? Because I forgot to bring it up in our last show. People, I got so many birthday wishes. It was fucking insane. I went to my friend's house They had a party for me. They made cake. They bought gifts. Right? People, my birthday, puñeta, is not in August. My internet my internet birthday, escucha bien, ustedes interibrutos out there.
Vamos a anotarlo.
Okay, my internet birthday is in August. Meaning the first day that they kind of say, oh, look, Luis Guzman just hit the internet for the first time. So I thank you for that internet birthday. My real birthday is in October. I have 3 birthdays according to the internet.
I saw that
and if you look, they have me that I have like 8 kids there. 8 kids. I got 5 kids. They got me with like 6, 7 kids. Okay, my birthday, people, and for all of you guys that wish me happy birthday, I fucking love you. I adore you. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. I'm not returning the gift. Hold that thing. Anyway, all right.
I want to mention one thing, and I want to bring it up because Mike Acevedo put it up, and I have mentioned it on my social media earlier.
Oh, that's right.
Number 21, Roberto Clemente, was celebrated by MLB today, and we're pushing to retire number 21. So hopefully we will get that done.
Okay. Thank you, Roberto Clemente. Thank you to his family.
Absolutely.
You guys out there, you guys continue to do the work. New Jersey had an earthquake.
Yes.
New Jersey had an earthquake.
Listen, New Jersey's the armpit of America. Like, who gives a fuck anyway?
You know what, Casper?
Wow.
New Jersey's bridge and tunnel.
Tú estás cabrón. Bro, if I ever catch you in Jersey, I'm going to have this shit on video. We're going to be at a bar somewhere. Like I said, yo, man, look at what that pendejo said about Jersey. You live in Jersey? Come here. Okay.
You know
Moving
what
on.
they're going to be like, he's right.
You're going to be with us, Jackie. You're going to be with us.
If you go to Jersey, the first thing they say is, what exit? Because the only thing you have out there are plants and exits, you know. And of course, you used to have Action Park, which is no longer there. Have you seen that documentary? Have you seen the documentary on HBO Max on the class action suit on Action Park? Dude, you have to see that documentary. It's hysterical. I'm surprised that not more people died in Action Park. That place was completely illegal. El tipo era tan cabrón that he created his own insurance company to do the insurance for the park to be able to open the park. He was his own insurer. Yo, that park.
That's crazy.
And they interview everybody who worked there. Everybody who worked there was 16, 17 teenagers. They were running the park. They were drinking during working. That place was crazy.
That place was crazy though. It was always dirty and like it was not run well. So I want to watch that documentary. That's insane.
So okay, moving on. Ronald Bell, one of the co-founders of Kool and the Gang, passed away at 68 years old.
That's right.
So, you know what I mean? So I want to give a shout out. Kool and the Gang, one of the greatest bands.
Hell yeah.
Ronald Bell, one of the co-founders. Thank you, brother.
Celebration time.
So the coronavirus trial has been halted. Did you hear about that? They were doing this vaccine. And,
because supposedly there was something. I don't remember exactly what.
No, people started getting sick from it.
Yeah, it's funny because I have seen recently, as recently as this week, on a lot of the mainstream media where we have all these doctors talking about, we are developing something. We're in the 3rd phase of it. We're not there yet, you know. And then a lot of this administration is pushing, saying, by October we're going to go ahead and have a vaccine for you guys. That's not what Anthony Fauci and the real people are saying. You know, they're still testing and there's still a lot of road to pave.
Well, supposedly there was a supercomputer in late August that researched the virus and found something really interesting, which is one of the theories, and it would be much easier to fix because there are already drugs that deal with this, but it has to do with the body having an overload of something called bradykinin. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's something that's been dealt with in the past, and it actually can account for every single weird symptom that we see with COVID. So that's pretty promising, kind of cool.
Okay, I gotta ask you guys a question. Can you define for me, for us people out there, quantum behavior? What is that?
I don't know.
Quantum behavior. Anybody out there know? Hit me up.
You're not going to Google that shit.
David Marsh said that Oxford halted because people were having adverse effects to the
reactions to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They have to make sure that it's effective and it doesn't kill people. Does anybody out there know what quantum behavior is? You know, in the meantime, they still have not let Joe Exotic out on the party.
And also on a different note, they decided to go ahead with the Olympics next year, regardless of where we're going to be. So the Olympics are supposed to take place in, I believe, Tokyo in July of next year. So hopefully by then, everything will be back to normal. But the way it's
listen, I don't trust that shit because let me tell you something. During the Olympics, you know what happens during the Olympics, right? A lot of fucking. A lot of these athletes are just hanging out all the time. All of a sudden, there's a surge of condoms. There's a surge of you know. Hector's saying the quantum recipe. Put that up there.
Quantum theory describes the behavior of things, particles or energy, on the smaller scale.
Physics.
Go ahead, Jackie. You continue reading.
Quantum theory describes the behavior of things, particles of energy are the smallest scale.
Okay, whoa. People need to understand this shit, Jackie.
Sorry, I'm reading it to myself.
Oh my God. Jackie.
All right. Quantum recipe. Oh, it's funny. Quantum theory describes the behavior of things, particles or energy on the smallest scale. In addition to wavicles, it predicts that a particle may be found in many places at the same time, or it may tunnel through walls.
Mira, put up with its behavior. There is one lucky break. However, electrons behave just like light. The quantum behavior of atomic objects, electrons, protons, neutrons, cabrons, motrons, potrons, photons, and Voltron. Yes. I don't know why you bring this up.
Particle waves.
I'm just
in
trying.
line with that, quantum behavior would be two things happening at the same time, simultaneously, right?
Yes, like when you fart and sneeze, you might die.
No, listen. The only
in one dimension you die, in one dimension you don't.
You might lose 10 pounds because you like so much air is coming out of your body from your ass and your nose. You know, that's quantum behavior.
The reason I bring this stuff up is because I'm just trying to stimulate your intellect.
Dude, I got a GED. I'm not really trying to be stimulated. I was
Casper, you always get defensive when I take you out of your comfort level. Cut that shit out.
That's very true.
Whoa. Did you hear that?
Oh,
Thank you, Jackie.
Yo, we're on overtime. I'm out of here.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So
look at this fucking idiot. He's talking and he's never on. The technical director, either he talks really, really loud or you don't hear him at all.
Okay. So hey guys, I want to thank I want to thank Felipe Esparza for coming out with us. Go ahead, Casper. You continue.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yes. And again, if you want to follow Felipe Esparza, Facebook.com, Felipe Esparza fan page, on Instagram.com, Felipe Esparza comedian. Also, of course, with Alexander and Hector. You want to check that out, their stuff. We're putting the vlog information right on the Luis and Casper Facebook page. So you guys could go ahead and check them out. Again, if you got any video game questions, Alexander says, send them an email and he will answer it.
Yeah, and I want to thank both Alexander and Hector. They were so amazing to have on. We had a great show. We had a great show. Debbie Cox, what's up?
Elias in the house. What's up, Frank?
Every night. But listen, man. No, what a great show we had, guys.
And it's just going to keep getting better.
Calvin Belknap, thank you again. But
Gustavo posted that for himself.
The what?
The poor Gustavo.
Oh.
So listen, everybody in this world. Something else I just wanted to share with you guys, please. Because again, in this world right now, there's many people out there going through tough times, and again, if you guys find yourself in a tough spot, and you're thinking about the end and stuff like that, I just want to say that the suicide hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. If you find yourself desperate again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Again, to all of our essential workers, nurses, doctors, medical people, teachers, delivery drivers, all you people that work in those restaurants, social workers, the list goes on and on. My love, my respect goes out to you guys, and like I said, it's an interesting world right now that we live in. We're doing our part here to not only have a good conversation, but also educate people and stimulate people, and that we can all grow together. We can all have each other's back.
Education, entertainment.
Yeah. And I want to thank Jackie tonight, especially because she didn't freeze up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, her internet's awesome. Listen, and you're working on that Yo Soy Latina. Let's talk a little about
yeah. Por favor.
So Yo Soy Latina is going to be the 20th anniversary of this off-Broadway play, which is an incredible play written by Linda Nieves Powell.
Yep, shout out to Linda.
Yeah, and it's going to be airing on Facebook Live next Thursday. We can talk about it next week, so that this way.
Sure, but it's always nice to
we're giving you an opportunity to say something, Jackie.
All right, so let me. All right, so let me finish. So essentially, it's a play that gathers several Latinas, and we talk about what it means to be Latin in America today, and the differences between the Afro-Latina and the Blanquita Latina like me. And it's a very valid and necessary conversation to have, especially now with everything that's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and within the Latino community.
Are you guys? Of course, you are tweaking it for today, because Linda Nieves Powell has had this property out for over 20 years, like you said, celebrating the 20-year anniversary. So you're making it modern. You're including or you're integrating technology, because clearly you guys can't be in a theater right now together and work on this. And you're working on this with a group of the Caribeñas, right?
Yeah. So I'm also a part of a new group called Caribeña Creatives, which is all women. And it's all women from the Caribbean diaspora. It's beautiful because we don't have that representation in Hollywood at all. Most of the Latinos that you hear about or that you see are generally Mexican, Spaniard. You don't see Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Costa Ricans. Like, you just don't see Caribbean actors that much. So, or in the entertainment industry for that matter. So I'm a part of this new initiative to create a space for us. And so all of the women that are involved, not all of us, but a majority of us are a part of the Caribeña Creatives Group. And this was created in conjunction with a production company out in Spain called Anacoana Productions. And we have worked with, or they have worked with Linda to tweak the play so that the play is representative of what's happening today with Black Lives Matter and the whole conversation.
Right, integrating all those issues.
Right, exactly. So it's
That's
been
awesome.
updated. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
I'm happy
Well,
for
looking
you.
forward to
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
So, Casper, última palabra.
I'm just excited. I'm inspired. I love the stories we had today. I love sharing our time with Hector and Alexander, and we want to bring you more of that content. And I love you guys. Not Louis.
Jackie.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the conversations we had today. I learned a lot. I don't know anything about gaming or anything about Japan, so that was really cool. And Felipe is hilarious. He's such a train wreck. I love him because he's like me. And I love you guys too. I love you.
Thank you. Gustavo, say something. And don't cut me off.
I want to say happy birthday to my eldest son. He turned 6 today. He's watching. Gustavito.
Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
And no, yeah, it was a great show. I love you guys. I think, like I've said before, I feel you guys inside of me, and I hope I'm inside of you as well.
What?
Thank you.
That was weird.
Okay. So, everybody,
two sound bites that we're saving: that Hector likes sperm, and that Gustavo likes is inside him.
Okay, yeah. Oh my God. But listen, mi gente. Please help us out. Spread the word. We want to keep growing. We're going to keep representing our Latino community, but not only Latinos, but humanity in general, because that's who we are and that's what we are about. I'm honored to be working with Casper and Jackie and Gustavo. We're going to keep doing this. So again, I can ask you all to please continue to spread the word. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We went a little over, but you know what I say? Fuck it. Hey! We're out of here. We're out of here, people.
Bye.
Bye-bye.